academia and on the left generally, but I mean, are people looking at this and are they aghast? I mean, I'm talking about sensible people. I'm not talking about like university presidents or uh, the knobs over at the score. I'm talking about like real commonsensical people who live with 2 feet planted on terra firma. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Greg Newsom, who plays for the Browns now, is at Northwestern under Fitzgerald. Nice knowing you, Evanston. Won't be seeing me no more. It's so obvious we played during different eras, so that could have been an experience they had, talking about the players that are bitching. And don't want to downplay their experience, but from mine, it was nothing but respect. Greg Newsom's black player. Okay, now this is getting out of hand. Coach Fitz is a great man. During my time at NU, I've never felt belittled or treated any different for being black or minority. Stop it. Yeah, stop it. But it can't stop
No.
because they're beholden to the left, and that's Northwestern University. It's been that way for a long time. And this David Schill, the Dickensian named university president, you think he's going to hold the line against his fellow soft-headed leftists?
Think of how many people are on a football team, and this is from years ago. And they're taking him. Oh, Diaz is not done complaining, Dan. He's now a clinical therapist, and he said the program's culture had a profound mental impact on him.
Mm.
He was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder after graduating from Northwestern.
I've seen Northwestern play football. It is traumatic. There's no question about that.
I just feel sick for Pat Fitzgerald. I really do. He is such a nice man. I mean, he was there for 17 years for a reason.
He was there for 17 years for a reason. The reason is that Northwestern administration doesn't care about their sports programs. Bill Carmody was there for 13 years too. You think they cared about the basketball program, or do at present? Chris Collins, what is he producing exactly? This is just the whole thing is just risible across the board, from the administration to the coaches. By the way, with all due respect, there's no profiles in courage here, including Pat Fitzgerald. I understand you want to keep your head down. You don't want to get into this business, but you know what the culture is like there. And I'm so is he stepping up to press back against this?
He hired an attorney.
That's not stepping up and pressing back against it. That's
What should he
that,
do?
that's negotiating the payout on your contract since you're in year 2 of a 10-year deal. Is he saying anything? What about others in the coaching community?
I wonder if they're going to fire all the coaches.
What about other coaches at Northwestern? What about other parents of players? I mean, it's nice to see some players say something. Schnurr, Newsom, others. Bring a little sanity to this discussion. Just a little.
Well, the majority of team did write a letter saying that these are exaggerated and twisted allegation. It's not true.
That's current team.
Right.
What about the rest? What about 17 years worth of players? And all the, again, colleagues. Who's standing up and saying, really? This is going to be based on what a couple of players like Ramon Diaz said in the grand scheme of 17 years of players that have run through the school, and particularly when you have other players saying their experience was just the opposite, when you're talking about a systemic, toxic culture that dates back many years, according to Schill.
Well, Pat Fitzgerald gave an interview to the Positive Coaching Alliance 9 years ago, where he admitted, yes, there was hazing when he was a Wildcat, but that stopped.
We had that here back, frankly, when I was a player in some different ways. But, as society's evolved and as we've really thought deep about how we want to welcome our new family members in to our programs and into our organizations, hazing should have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's not stopped because young men are young men, and we're not evolving, we're devolving. And for the people who say, well, how would you like it if that happened to your son? Obviously, if your kid is upset about something, that's not a
You should say something.
that's not a positive situation. So those kids that were upset, like Ramon Diaz,
Who's an adult now.
he was an adult
30s.
then.
Yeah, that's true.
So where did you go? Who'd you talk to? Did you talk to your fellow players? Did you? Oh, I can't talk to coach because he knows about it. He's condoning. Okay, did you go to the athletic director? Did you go to the president's office? Did you go to your parents? Say something to them.
He's not done bitching. He said he hasn't watched a football game it took 5 years for him to turn on a Northwestern football game. It was such a negative experience that he didn't want anything to do with the sport.
It's taken 7 for me to turn on a Northwestern football game. Related story at Northwestern.
Oh, wait, Diaz isn't done. I'm sorry.
I don't care.
No,
I'm done with him.
Well, this one teammate asked him why he didn't play soccer instead of football, and he sees that as racist.
On yesterday afternoon, 9 members of the Northwestern baseball team.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, the worst team in the Big Ten. Of course, I'm talking about Northwestern. Shared with the Score that Jim Foster, the head coach there, instituted an environment in 2023 that was toxic and broke the spirit of the team. Oh, heavens. And in response, that afternoon crew, Pankins and the other guy said they would invite Jim Foster on their show. They would invite Jim Foster's mother on the show and have sex with her. So we'll see how Jim Foster reacts to that.
Too soon?
So they went 10-40 in 2023.
Oh, okay.
And
those 10 wins were spectacular, though, I have to tell you.
Yeah, the problem was, though, according to these unnamed persons who came forward, the problem was that Coach Foster.
Yeah, what did he do? Did he make them run extra laps if they made mistakes during a game?
No, it's much worse than that. I'm quoting, his interactions with players and staff could be cold at times and at other times combative.
Oh, that's called life. I mean, what are we doing?
Wait. There's more in the allegations against Bill Foster, who, by the way, coached at Army before.
Yeah, I need a fainting couch for the rest of this story.
He spoke negatively about his staff to other staff members. And look, there is no place for negativity in sports. At the D1 level, it should always be simply positive reinforcement. We only accept
rainbows and unicorns.
We only accept compliments from our coaches at Northwestern. But I'm supposed to take this seriously.
This is a joke. Now they're just piling on.
Bruce Wolf, my former partner in sound there, got off a good one. In a related story, Northwestern chess coach is under fire for muttering under his breath how hot the protagonist is in the Queen's Gambit. So we've got another brewing scandal there at the Northwestern chess program.
Oh, that's great.
We'll let you know how that works out. Michael on the south side.
Morning game. We thank you both for taking my call. Now, I hesitate to call these guys liars, but
no, heavens, no.
But the problem is that the coverage of Pat Fitzgerald simply does not pass the smell test, and my suspicion is that he's being fired for going 1-11 last year.
Nope. No way.
No.
Thanks for the call, Michael.
I honestly think he would have survived the alleged hazing, but when somebody muttered the R word, the racist culture of racism, boom, he was gone.
Maybe. But I mean, just on the
guy who's not
there are no performance standards for Northwestern sports programs. Understand that, the men's sports programs at least. There are no performance standards. Pat Fitzgerald could have gone 1-11 for the next decade, and he wouldn't have gotten fired.
So are they going to get rid of the baseball coach? Are they going to suspend him without pay for 2 weeks?
Well, you can't have somebody uttering negative words. You can't have somebody being critical of the players. They can't have a head coach that's critical of the players. I mean, isn't that how we all came up when we played sports? It was nothing but compliments.
I mean,
a guy who played college offensive line tweeted back into some of my tweets. My college position coach, after about 2 practices after arriving on campus, said he was going to send me back to Chicago in a box, meaning a coffin. He was a great coach, and he went on to coach in the NFL for about 15 years. Well,
don't say his name.
Not anymore. I mean, that guy wouldn't have made it in this environment, right? At least not at Northwestern, where again, only kindness is allowed from your football coach.
That's so ridiculous. I mean, coaches are human beings. They have bad days and good days like everybody else, but consequences for your actions, running or doing floor cleans if you miss serves, or the players like that. They want structure.
How do you think Bo Schembechler and Woody Hayes would do in this era?
Oh, Woody.
How do you think Bobby Knight would do in this era?
I don't think they'd last too long.
Unbelievable.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll switch gears and do a little COVID roundup. There's a lot of news of late on COVID, including the number of individuals in this country over the age of 16 that have been affected and infected and have natural immunity. We'll start there with Dr. Scott Atlas. Oh, yeah, 5:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
72 degrees at 5:31. Northwestern University, as you've been discussing with Dan and Amy, has made a controversial decision to move on from its head football coach. University announcing on Monday that Pat Fitzgerald has been fired. The decision comes in the wake of a 2-week unpaid suspension the school announced on Friday following a university-commissioned investigation into hazing allegations within the program that seemed to clear Fitzgerald and football operations. Fitzgerald is hiring an attorney. President Biden is joining other NATO leaders at a summit in Lithuania. The meeting comes just as alliance member Turkey has dropped its objections to Sweden joining up, spurred by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to attend the summit as well. Officials in Los Angeles say the reinstatement of zero bail policy will result in a spike of violent crime. It comes after an LA judge ruled holding people who can't afford to pay cash bail was a violation of their constitutional rights. One study found that suspects released without bail reoffended 70% more often than people who posted bail. A Pennsylvania man this morning is accused of buying human body parts online and has agreed to a plea deal. Jeremy Pauley of Enola was arrested in July after a multi-state investigation into the trafficking of stolen human remains. He was indicted by a federal grand jury for allegedly buying body parts that came from Harvard Medical School. We have some developing news this morning from the New York Times. They are shutting down their sports desk. The newspaper's CEO says current sports staff will move to other desks in the newsroom, and there will no longer be a freestanding sports desk at the New York Times. Now, questions about the future of the Times sports department was raised last year when the paper spent $500 million to buy the struggling sports news website, The Athletic. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office is revealing the identity of a woman killed in a wrong-way crash involving a CTA bus on DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Police say Charisse Rush was riding in an SUV that slammed into the CTA bus. She died at a nearby hospital. And officials in Northwest Indiana are seeking to close gas stations during the early morning hours. The Hammond City Council will consider the ordinance at a meeting this evening. The proposed measure would require any gas station in the city to shut down between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m. And it is July 11th, and you know what that means. It's free 7-Eleven Slurpee Day. To celebrate the convenience store chain's 96th birthday, anyone who stops by can get a free small Slurpee. The offer extends to Speedway and Stripes gas stations and stores as well. Chicago sports All-Star Week continues. Luis Robert Jr. went nuts in the first round of his home run derby matchup with Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman, winning that first round 28-27, then bowing out against Rays slugger Randy Arozarena in the semis 35-32. Robert is the lone representative for the Southsiders. Cubs have 3 for the senior circuit on their roster. The news is a service of PKF Mueller CPA professionals, business and financial advisors, experienced, committed, and ready to help with record keeping, expense reduction, budgeting, and more. Visit online pkfmueller.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink in the other. Join Dennis Prager live in Chicago for Cigar Night on Thursday, August 24th at Klein Creek Golf Club in Winfield. Dennis will be joined by AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by healthinsurancementors.com and by Blue Star Security.
As a family-owned business, your complete satisfaction means the world to the McGrath Automotive Group. Everyone and everything at all of the locations are dedicated to making the McGrath experience your best experience. Whether you're looking to buy a new vehicle, in for service, or just taking a test drive, McGrath Automotive Group will always give you the personal attention you deserve. Visit one of their dealerships today in person or online at gomcgrath.com. Service, value, reputation. That's the power of McGrath.
It's summertime, and you want to keep the shop, warehouse, and other doors open for ventilation. Air circulation improves the well-being of your employees and customers, but open doors can let in the uninvited, like strangers, birds, rodents, and bugs. Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. can help solve the problem with a full line of commercial screen door products designed with these specific problems in mind. Call Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. now. Also, regular scheduled maintenance is the key, and Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. has multiple levels of maintenance programs for your company's needs and budget. They'll ensure your doors, grills, gates, and dock equipment are working to specification to increase the useful life of your doors. Visit their website to see a range of products and services at industrialdoor.com. Call anytime, 847-258-5620. Their team will be there to assist in designing a solution that works best for you. Since 1982, the Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. takes care of your doors so you can take care of business.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Freedom's Journal Institute, Good Ranchers, Bull Valley Golf Club, and GiveSendGo.com. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth.
When the stock market struggles, when inflation is high, you need to start looking through the inventory of all your accounts and say, is every one of these investments working as hard as it could be? Because every month during high inflation that you waste, you're losing 8 or 9% a year.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast. from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's 5:40. Quick update on the roads. A service of Tom Mirabali, your independent Blue Cross Blue Shield agent. No matter what time of year it is, you can buy a PPO health insurance plan that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. Get started at healthplanchicago.com. Tri-State northbound accident with a right lane blocked between the Lincoln Oasis and Halstead. Veterans Toll Road vehicle fire being pulled out of your way. It's on the northbound side of 355 between 127th and International Parkway. Dan Ryan Express already jammed up inbound at 33rd. The Kennedy stop and go central to Montrose. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny, much more humid today, and that could spark an afternoon thunderstorm. High 84. 72 right now. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A little scheduling snafu with Dr. Scott Atlas, so we're trying to work that out. In the meantime, it was another violent weekend in Chicago. That's called A Weekend in Chicago. And the headlines were not so much about murders and shootings, thankfully, as they were about armed robberies rampant throughout Logan Square and Humboldt Park.
And Lakeview.
Yeah.
I mean, we had two carjackings last night.
I mean, well, of course, there was some of this. I mean, there was a shootout in Rogers Park that left 5 injured. But the focus of a lot of the coverage was this organized group that was going throughout, including Bucktown, going to different neighborhoods and rousting people on a group of armed robbers, Clockwork Orange kids, silly kids. I get it. Something else struck me, though, this story in the Sun-Times. Just in terms of the competence of these people when you think about the promises they make and the policies they seek. Weeks before man was charged with killing wife and daughter, cops reported him in clear and present danger, but didn't take his gun. Jose Alvarez was angry and sweating, a gun within reach, as he talked to Chicago police officers who'd been called to the Little Village neighborhood for a disturbance late last month. They took defensive positions as they spoke to him through an open window. They finally left when he refused to come to the door and turned off the lights. 10 days later, he used a gun to kill his wife, his 15-year-old daughter, and wound his 18-year-old son, who ran to a neighbor's home for help. It's not clear why the officers chose not to seize the gun when they were concerned enough to later file a clear and present danger report about the individual. So I say this, or I raise this story, not as necessarily an indictment of police specifically, although there's certainly questions about the judgment call made here. But you're going to ban guns and think that's going to make a difference, or you're going to make it harder to obtain certain types of weapons, and you think that's going to make a difference. You think that's impactful. There are 731,000 FOID card holders in Cook County. More than 37,000 have had their FOID cards revoked. 27,000 of those 37,000 are non-compliant. meaning they likely still have their weapons. So the small fraction of FOID card holders who get their FOID card revoked for whatever reason, but it's not good.
No.
The law enforcement, political leadership of the county can't even accomplish that task. And we're supposed to believe them and their beautiful lies when they tell us about what they're going to do to stop guns coming in from Indiana, and that's material. When they run around mowing some sport rifles, and that's going to make a material difference. Even when they talk about red flag laws and all these steps they're taking and violence interrupters and so on and so, you got 27,000 people who have guns or likely have guns who shouldn't under the law. And I'm a Second Amendment advocate and gun enthusiast, and I don't want them to have guns. If you have done something such that you are no longer legally allowed to possess or carry a gun, well, then the law should be enforced. That's the position of these boogeymen organizations like NRA, actually. But they can't accomplish this. And you think they can accomplish what? What grand schemes to bring peace to the streets of Chicago and Cook County do you think are realistic when they can't even accomplish this? Wake up to the reality of your political leadership in this county and spread the word. Yeah, at least there's some people, even quietly, who are willing to tell the truth. St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones. She's in damage control mode after an Opens record request revealed private text messages in which Jones noted the ineffectiveness of gun control in cities like Chicago. One of the text messages drawn from a chat with her dad in March of this year. Chicago has strict gun laws as well, but that doesn't deter gun violence, said the black female Democrat mayor of St. Louis. She gets it, and so does everybody else, except sort of the honky leftists on the lakefront and who live by Amy. They get it. And, well, in the suburbs, because that's the real audience, frankly, is the honky leftists in the suburbs and the rich honkies in the city, too. This is all for rich honkies. All the bloviations from a Jelly Belly or a BLM Brandon, it's all for them. You get it, right?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could always reach us all morning long on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Tashara Jones gets it. I know she goes out publicly and says things like, our state's lax gun laws or blah, 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 blah. And then when she's talking to her dad, Chicago has long been known as having the strictest gun laws in the country, even when...
Well, we had a 25-year gun ban.
Right, even when the Supreme Court interceded and said, Chicago, you can't ignore people's constitutional rights. Even from that, it's still tougher here than in most other places. She gets it. Chicago has strict gun laws as well. That doesn't deter gun violence, says the black female Democrat mayor of St. Louis. John in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Dan and Amy, every living organism goes through a mathematical equation in their mind, risk versus reward. Every animal does this. My dog, everybody. If there was a risk of going to jail for 20 years, mandatory, if you commit a crime with a gun or have an illegal gun, this crap would stop overnight. But they don't have the chutzpah to do this.
Well, yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, you can pass minimum mandatory sentencing guidelines, but you still have human beings making judgment calls in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, sitting on the bench in the Cook County Circuit Court, making judgment calls about the deals they'll cut, sentences they'll impose. So that's why I say this example out of Little Village it's about police in this instance, but in part, but it's about the system as well, a system that drives decisions the police make. They're supposed to bring that guy who murdered his wife and daughter and injured his son. They're supposed to bring him in. What? Take his gun away? For why? Why should I do that? Why should I'm supposed to risk my life to take this guy's gun away when he's not going to get prosecuted by Kim Fox's office? Well, what's the point of that?
Yeah, he has no priors. He'd be out on the street like that.
So, right. And again,
and even if he did have priors, he'd probably still be right back out on the street.
Hey, Sheriff Tom Dart, where's the task force? Where's the get Ro Khan on the job? Where's the task force to go get the guns of those individuals who've had their FOID cards revoked? What's the point of a FOID card? I mean, there's a larger what's the point of a FOID card? Most states don't have them.
Well,
like
no,
almost
only
all
four
of them.
states, only
Yeah.
4 have them.
Right. But I mean, if you're going to have it and you're going to say this is a precautionary measure so that we know who is, passed a background check, even though that's redundant. But I mean, their argument, this is another precaution. It's a redundancy. It's a layer, even though they don't admit that, it's a layer of precaution. It's a layer of precaution. And then when that layer is pierced, you do nothing. So what kind of layer of precaution is it? What kind of protection does it afford? None, because you don't enforce it. But nobody pays attention to the non-enforcement. They just pay attention to politicians prattling on about all the great things they're doing to protect you. Do you feel protected? Matt, Mount Greenwood, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Thanks for taking my call. First, let me just say that it's, the loss of life, regardless of where it happens, is obviously utterly tragic. But to your point, Dan, this is all about the rich, white, leftist people, because you look at the coverage that the Highland Park massacre had versus the massacres that happen daily in the city of Chicago on the south and west side and now downtown. It's a blip on the screen compared to what the coverage is in Highland Park. And if it wasn't true that it is really, truly about the rich white honkies, the white leftists, what have you, we would see more coverage about the loss of life throughout the city of Chicago. But it just doesn't happen because they don't care. They don't matter.
That's
all
right.
I had to say.
Thanks for the comment. That's exactly right. They don't. That's not obvious. How many years of watching this play out does it take to penetrate the consciousness of this community? I have no idea.
Well, Saturday night, there were 20 holdups total.
Right. That's why people aren't going downtown.
Right. And some of them are rich white people.
Of
They're getting
course.
held up.
Of course. That's the honkies from the suburbs that won't go downtown for dinner and show because they're scaredy cats now. And they listen to BLM Brandon and as well as their local socialist Pauls that they've selected. Talking about guns, guns. Highland Park Remembrance Day, which has now displaced Independence Day in Chicagoland. What was it? It was all about sports rifles and banning this and banning that. And they went to D.C. to protest in favor of gun bans and so on and so forth. And that accomplishes what? As I say, tell me again what you think you're going to accomplish. I don't know. I'm going to feel good about myself. Okay, well, that's great.
We're doing something.
Yeah, we're doing something. Yeah, we're doing this in somebody's memory. Why don't you do something effective in someone's memory? Why don't you do something that is evidence-based in someone's memory? That's a real tribute to people who've been victimized, who are killed. Why don't you do something that stops the killing in their name, as opposed to makes you feel good, you barbarian? Jordan in Antioch, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning. I know I'm going to point out the obvious, and I know, Dan, you know this, and so does everybody else. But it's not about the actual physical guns. It's about the idea, and it's about the Second Amendment. It's about control. If it were about guns and safety, and I hope everybody remembers that we used to have a president that had complete control of the Congress with Democrats on both sides, and they never passed one single gun law. Not one gun law did they pass, did they present, because they know it's not popular, because even amongst their own constituents, it's not popular. But these leftists, these white suburban moms who have nothing better to do, want the control. They want somebody to come and take the Second Amendment. That is the prize. If they can get that, that is the ultimate prize for these people, is to be able to get the Second Amendment stricken out of the Constitution.
That's
right. They've already got your kids. They've already got your kids, right? They've already got your money. Now they just need to get the thing that keeps them from completely taking everything that you have. And if they can get the Second Amendment, and luckily we have a federal Supreme Court and a federal Court of Appeals put in place by Donald J. Trump, who is quietly dismantling the ATF and quietly destroying the anti-gun lobby by instituting common sense, by reading the Constitution and understanding that law-abiding citizens are not the ones that anybody has to fear, so they're not the ones that need to be punished. And they're starting to strike down these ridiculous edicts by the ATF. But you have to keep in mind one thing. It's not about the guns. It has nothing to do with safety and death. If it did, they would have done something about it long ago, and it would have been bipartisan. The entire nation would have supported it. But Obama had, they never, not one law. With complete control. They got Obamacare, couldn't get one law passed because they know that it's not popular.
Thanks for the call, Jordan. Something else, too. I mean, speaking of race, I know that part of this is caricaturing, sport rifle owners as, hillbilly Trump supporters. So that's part of it. But another part of it is those rich white those rich honkies in the suburbs and in the Tony neighborhoods in Chicago. They're racists, right? Take away their guns and get them to an abortion mill. It's the same people. Same people. Go to a cocktail party in Wilmette. The gun talk is in part the blacks killing blacks. Well, just take away their guns. Those people. That's how they're referred to. Those people need to stop having kids. That's how they're referred to. They're for abortion and they're against self-protection. That's the prevailing attitude in the rich honky enclaves in Chicagoland. Bank it.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Daily Herald 2022 Best of the Fox winner for Best Financial Planner is Total Clarity Wealth Management. The 2022 Reader's Choice Award winner for Best Wealth Management Firm and Best Financial Planner is Total Clarity Wealth Management. Are you ready for a change? Choose Total Clarity Wealth Management. With a professional team of financial advisors and CPAs, they can show you the way to financial readiness and keep you on track. Their philosophy is built on solid relationships and trust, with access to expertise in tax planning strategies, 401k rollover services, estate planning, and more. They can help you be ready for anything.
Hi, this is Terry Murphy. The cornerstone of our practice has been to help clients stay focused on their goals throughout life's changes.
Get in touch with them at TotalClarityWealth.com. That's TotalClarityWealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Total Clarity Wealth Management Inc., a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Awards are based on number of reader votes. This award is not representative of the views of clients and is not indicative of future performance or services.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
President Biden's gathered with key allies. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The United States is here today to reaffirm our commitment to NATO.
President sitting next to the leader of the host country, Lithuania, the day after Turkey's president agreed to a deal to allow Sweden to join the military alliance. Hungary also expected to agree, paving the way. NATO leader Jens Stoltenberg just said,
Another major message from this summit will be that we need to invest more in our defense.
And Fox's Alexandria Hoff reports.
Support for Ukraine will be top of discussion. Ukraine's long-sought entry into NATO will likely also be discussed, but that's something President Biden has been vocal in his reluctance to allow, fearing how quickly Russia's war could expand from Ukraine to elsewhere.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, who's pushing to join NATO, just called it absurd that Ukraine might not be considered for NATO membership, saying it gives Russia motivation to continue its terror. There's a state of emergency in Vermont where a deluge of rain has flooded parts of the capital, Montpelier, and other areas. Dozens of people needed to be rescued. The day after some flooding in New York, one woman was killed when swept away.
A lot of people are comparing the flooding here in New York's Hudson Valley and the flooding over in Vermont to past hurricanes. That's how much damage there is. The water was so strong at times it had the strength to tear apart roads and bridges like this one behind me. Officials are still trying to figure out if it's passable right now. They have it barricaded off so people won't drive or walk over it.
Fox Weather's Katie Byrne in Highland Falls, New York. It's day 5 of the manhunt for an escaped homicide suspect, Michael Burham, who broke out of the Warren County, Pennsylvania jail. State Police Lieutenant Adam Reed is asking for the public's help spotting Burham and just told Fox,
"We believed that he's possibly armed. We know that he's dangerous. He also has survivalist training."
2 other murder suspects who escaped custody the past 2 days in California and Montana have been captured. America. 72 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Northwestern University has made the very controversial decision to move on from its head football coach. The decision, announced on Monday that Pat Fitzgerald had been fired, comes in the wake of a 2-week unpaid suspension the school announced on Friday following a university-commissioned investigation into hazing allegations within the program that seemed to clear Fitzgerald and football operations of any wrongdoing. Meantime, Fitzgerald has coached Northwestern since 2006, but now has hired an attorney. The Illinois Freedom Caucus plans to address this week what it says is an outrageous decision by a state capitol facility to put young girls in danger by allowing a transgendered woman to use a locker room with biological women. The group of Republican legislators will hold a news conference Thursday afternoon across from a Springfield YMCA facility with the family of a 16-year-old female swimmer that they say was kicked off the team for questioning why biological males were allowed in the women's locker room. Last month, when the issue first surfaced on social media, Springfield YMCA Communications Director Lou Bart tried to tamp down on the controversy, saying the YMCA was safe and they don't discriminate.
Some people that are members of ours that are transgender that are known to us, that's because they want to be known to us. I'm sure there are others that we have no idea, and we are not concerned about that. So we can't discriminate against anybody.
On Monday, Bart said it was his opinion that the swimmer in question left on her own, and she was not prevented from practicing at the Springfield YMCA. An unruly passenger is being blamed for causing a plane to make an unexpected stop in Chicago. United Airlines says an international flight heading from Houston to Amsterdam Sunday night was diverted to Chicago after a passenger caused a disturbance. Police are investigating 2 carjackings hours apart in the Lakeview neighborhood. The first theft happened early yesterday in the 3200 block of North Ashland. A second carjacking took place in the 4000 block of North Ashland. Excluding Chicago, the most DUI arrests in the state of Illinois for 2022 were in Aurora. That, according to the Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists. The report released Thursday shows 340 DUI arrests in Aurora. Decatur came in second. Rockford saw the biggest jump, increasing 48% from 2021. Franklin Park had the highest arrest rate with 5.21 DUI arrests per officer. The news, a service of StarCase. When you need to protect your valuable equipment, put it in a StarCase. Go to starcase.com to order your case now. And by Health Insurance Mentors. Are you 65 or older and thinking about Medicare? Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Call 630-674-1551, healthinsurancementors.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink in the other. Join Dennis Prager live in Chicago for Cigar Night on Thursday, August 24th at Klein Creek Golf Club in Winfield. Dennis will be joined by AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by healthinsurancementors.com and by Blue Star Security.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Less money for the exact same thing. Hope this is clear enough. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, they're here to answer. Switch today and get a second month of service for free. Go to consumercellular.com/free month and enter promo code free month. Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 5 gigabyte data plan and unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023. Promotion subject to terms and conditions.
When it comes to remodeling your home, are you picky, fussy, persnickety, particular, demanding, and just downright hard to please? Do you value quality over speed? Getting it done right over just getting it done? Well then, Mr. and Mrs. Persnickety, do yourself a favor and check out Forever Remodeling. That's the number 4everremodeling.com. To call us perfectionists would be understating our attention to detail. If you said we were OCD when it comes to creating spectacular kitchens, bathrooms, basements, and additions, we'd be guilty as charged. Forever Remodeling takes the time to meticulously get the job done exactly right. So if you're a stickler for details, if your standards are ridiculously high, then check out Forever Remodeling. We can promise you a best of the best of the best experience. Our number is 847-809-3355 or go to foreverremodeling.com. Foreverremodeling.com.
All right, let's talk food. Let's talk summer food. You got the burgers, you got the hot dogs, you got the beef sandwiches, and let's not forget the combo. You got to have the combo. It's Chicago, baby. Anyone getting hungry besides me? That's what summer food tastes like in Chicago. Fantastic. It's the one thing we all love. But it's all high in, you know, the bad stuff. Salt, sodium, lots of it. Which is when it comes to your high blood pressure, there's nothing worse. It's like sending your heart a get sick card. Now don't toss away your grill. Just keep some balance. And to help get your blood pressure down, try 120 Life. That's what I do. They now have a new powdered drink mix. I'm drinking it and I love it. Scientifically formulated to help keep your blood pressure down. Plus the new powdered drink, very, very good for you. It has 1 gram of sugar and 5 calories. 120 Life, the natural juice. It's a drink that works without the side effects of pill to control your blood pressure. Check out 120life.com. That's 120life.com and use coupon code LIBERTY to save 15% on your order. Plus free shipping. And get this, you'll earn customer rewards point with every order. 120 Life. We need more stuff like this.
6:09, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Kennedy inbound. Trouble spot already 35 in O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Dan Ryan Express lanes also a trouble spot early this morning. Inbound between 33rd and the Stevenson in the Express. Tri-State accident right lane block on the southbound side of 294 before Plainfield Road. Veterans Toll northbound 355 between this Plains River Valley Bridge and International Parkway. An earlier vehicle fire is now off on the right-hand shoulder. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Partly sunny, more humid. Thundershower this afternoon, high 84. Partly cloudy, humid. A thunderstorm in spots tonight, low 64. Cloudy day tomorrow, a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. The high tomorrow afternoon at 75. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
It's 6:10, time to visit signaturebank.bank and time to check those updated temperatures. 72 at O'Hare, 71 Lakefront. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Green Energy's Our Horseface was on MSNBC over the weekend, prattling on about the threats we face as indicated by things like flooding in the Northeast. He had this to say about that.
This is a very important point. The climate crisis is growing by the day. You just saw and have reported on what happened in New York. All around the world, there are record-breaking days where the heat is greater than it's ever been before. This will be the hottest June and July. It'll be the hottest summer. It'll be the hottest year. And we all know that because the science is telling it to us and because Mother Earth is responding by telling us exactly what's going on.
Mom?
He has a direct line to Mother Earth.
Gaia, is that you calling?
Mamita. Oh, boy.
Horseface, come inside. It's your Mother Earth calling.
She's talking to me,
yeah, he went on too. This is really,
does he know? I
this
mean,
is really good stuff from Horseface.
Okay.
So,
wait, why do you call him Horseface?
why the long face?
Oh, okay.
Green Energy is our Horseface. Everything can be funneled through climate change and the global climate crisis. The Ukraine war, you think the mass casualties is the real tragedy of the war in Ukraine? The killing, right? The loss of life, that's the big tragedy? No.
It's not?
No.
Oh.
Lots of parts of the world are exacerbating the problem right now. But when you have bombs going off and you have damage to septic tanks or to power centers, etc., you have an enormous release of greenhouse gas, of methane, of all of the family of greenhouse gases. And the result is it's adding to the problem. I'm not, believe me, that's the fight in Ukraine is a fight that we have to make, that the world has to make. The values at stake are enormously important to all of us. So I'm not suggesting by any fashion that this is not a fight we shouldn't be involved in. But I am saying that there are ancillary impacts as a result of it.
The real tragedy is the methane being released by all those dead bodies, according to Czar Horseface.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
And, of course, all of his socialist buddies, like New York Governor Kathy Hochul, they repeat the lines.
Joined here by local leaders to give an update on the current situation, what we're anticipating going forward, and what residents need to do together, how we can stand up and using every bit of our power, mobilizing to fight the ravages of climate change, because again, these are unprecedented weather events that keep hitting us over and over and over again. So we must change our behavior as a planet, as a country, as a state, and in our own homes. And we're going to continue that conversation in earnest, because we have to know that we have to do everything in our power to protect our citizens.
What would you like us to do, Governor Hochul? How can I help?
Everything is a 1 in 1,000-year event these days. Everything's unprecedented,
Yep.
and it's because of climate change, which is why we have to eliminate your gas-powered stove and reduce the water used per cycle in your washing machine or your dishwasher, because everything's unprecedented. Except it's not. Steve Malloy had a good piece responding to Green Czar Horseface's assertion that, and it wasn't just his, that July 4th, the hottest day in
The world.
human history.
Yes, human history. Well, we only started keeping weather records in America since 1880.
The reported average global temperature on July 3rd and 4th, 62.6 degrees, the hottest in 125,000 years.
Oh, come on.
That's what I said. The temperature was derived from the University of Maine's Climate Reanalyzer.
I love that thing. That thing's a hoot at parties.
Yeah, it sounds like something Professor Frink from The Simpsons invented.
Oh, sure, the Frinkiac 7 looks impressive. Don't touch it. But I predict that within 100 years, computers will be twice as powerful, 10,000 times larger, and so expensive that only the 5 richest kings of Europe will own them. Could it be used for dating? Well, theoretically, yes, but the computer matches would be so perfect as to eliminate the thrill of romantic conquest in a way.
So the University of Maine's Climate Reanalyzer, Steve Malloy points out something that's just, you don't need to be a climatologist to appreciate. Steve Malloy is senior legal fellow at the Energy and Environmental Legal Institute. We don't have satellite data from 125,000 years ago.
No.
Calculated estimates of current temperatures can't be fairly compared with guesses of global temperature from thousands of years ago. Also, the notion of average global temperature is totally meaningless. Average global temperature is a concept invented by and for the global warming hypothesis. It's more a political concept than a scientific one. The Earth and its atmosphere is large and diverse, and no place is meaningfully average. Fun with stats. Another problem is our temperature data are imprecise. It's been estimated that 96% of U.S. temperature stations produce corrupted data. That's a lot. About 92% of them reportedly have a margin of error of a full degree Celsius or nearly 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, that's a big deal when you're talking about completely deindustrializing to prevent the Earth from warming a projected 2 degrees Fahrenheit over the next 100 years, and you have that sort of margin error at the temperature stations that are collecting this data, isn't it? Also, temperature stations tend to be limited to populated areas. Much of the Earth's surface isn't measured at all, writes Malloy, although NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, likes to present global temperature starting in 1880. Regular temperature collection in places such as the North and South Poles began much later. So he concludes to the hysterics from last week, it isn't plausible to characterize Earth's warming in a single average number, especially when we really don't know what that number is today, much less from 125,000 years ago. But you go ahead and listen to Green Czar Horseface and political ciphers like New York Governor Kathy Hochul all you want.
They must all get the same talking points at the same time. You know, a Democratic blast of, oh, no, we have flooding in the Northeast. This is because of climate change.
Of course.
So
well,
hit it home. Have a press conference.
They don't need
do
the
whatever you
talking
need to
point.
do.
They see, you see Kathy Hochul do it, and then Phil Murphy or Pritzker or Newsom will just do the same thing, and vice versa. Alex Berenson wrote about the flooding in New York that Hochul was carrying on about. He notes something about this storm in New York's Hudson Valley, 1,000-year event. Right. The rain dump covered a handful of towns. For some reason, a storm cell got hung up just over the Hudson River. Maybe there's a good meteorological explanation for why, maybe not. It drenched the area to the west and slightly to the east of the river with 2 months of rain in a few hours. Whole lot of rain for sure. Our house is in that blotch somewhere, the map, I felt bad not to be home until I got the update from my older daughter this morning. It rained, we lost power, the generator came on, the power came back on. 2 of 3 kids slept through at the end.
Night, night.
That's just one storm. We all know climate change is bringing death and destruction worldwide. We all know its ravages increase every year, except they don't. Bjorn Lomborg has written about this extensively. We've had him on the show to discuss. So is Patrick Moore, the co-founder of Greenpeace. In 2021, writes Berenson, the World Meteorological Organization, which is part of the UN, released a 90-page Atlas of Mortality and Economic Losses from Weather, Climate, and Water Extremes. Weather-related deaths rose slightly from the 70s through the 80s. They have plunged 75% since, even though the population has nearly doubled. Over the last decade, fewer than 50 people a day died from extreme weather on a planet that now has 8 billion. Did you catch that?
Yeah. Text messages coming in. Can someone tell me what the proper climate or temperature is supposed to be?
Lower. That's all they can tell you.
What caused the ice age, Dan and Amy?
I mean, it's just amazing what they can get away with.
Well, yeah, because we have weather records that go back 125 years.
No, we don't. Steve Malloy just made mention of that.
Well, he said thousands, I thought.
No, he said NOAA likes to present global temperatures starting in 1880, but regular temperature collection in places such as the North and South Poles began much later. Okay. So it's stilted. The data is stilted. And by the way, the margin of error is significant.
And now they're claiming septic tanks are part of the climate crisis.
And so are dead bodies in Ukraine.
Yeah.
The number of weather-related deaths. I mean, just raw data presented by the UN. And still they get away with this promotion of hysteria through mendacity. How gullible are some people? They're just willfully blind, ignorant. I don't know. You just hear people just carry on all the time. The cause celeb. Put your Earth Day, Earth Hour logo up on your social media page. Then put your Ukraine flag. Then put your
gay pride flag. And
of course,
one of the 43 you can choose from. And then maybe if you're lucky, they'd put an American flag up. For July.
I guess until you get kids out of the government schools, this is just going to continue to, civilization is just going to continue to decline because you don't have anybody with the capacity to think or the desire to. That's what seems to me. There's just not even a desire to try to process information, to try and understand anything. You just listen to political cant from whoever you like, and then you repeat it. Ralph and Rantoul.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Dan, I like your style. The question I have is, in humans, there's a couple of places that we normally poke our thermometer to get the accurate reading of body temperature. They've kind of broadened out a little bit with things that you bounce off your forehead or look in your ear. But, the traditional places we know, and one of them is a lot more socially acceptable than the other. Where do we poke the Earth to get an accurate?
Where is the Earth's anus? I think you're living in it. Ralph.
I was in the city yesterday, so I'd agree. And if an ice age is coming, does that mean hotels are going to have more space because they can get rid of all those ice machines that occupy a room on most of the floors?
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Kip in Stillman Valley.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Listen, this solar hot spots where we get the aurora borealis. Everybody just today was on the news with how pretty the northern lights are. It's from active solar flares from the sun. Right. And we've gone through a cycle that goes, the sun cycle goes like 20-year increments. And you're wondering about the whales and the dolphins and sharks and everything. They got the solar, so it messes up with the Earth's magnetic pole, and everything's so messed up. But just recently, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, 17 years ago, 18 years ago, 19 years ago, 20 years ago, 21 years ago, 22 years ago, 23 years ago, 24 years ago, 25 years ago, 26 years ago, 27 years ago, 28 years ago, 29 years ago, 30 years ago, 31 years ago, 32 years ago, 33 years ago, 34 years ago, 35 years ago, 36 years ago, 37 years ago, 38 years ago, 39 years ago, 40 years ago, 41 years ago, 42 years ago, 43 years ago, 44 years ago, 45 years ago, 46 years ago, 47 years for years I'm going, they're putting something in the air because it's a beautiful blue sky up there early in the morning. All of a sudden, you got these planes going by, crisscrossing and going all over the place. And then recently they come out that they've been seeding the skies. And it goes off of already existing weather systems, and whatever they're putting in the atmosphere makes the rain droplets bigger.
All right, Buck Rogers.
You're wondering why
All
you're
right.
getting 9-10 inches of rain.
All right, thanks for the call, Kip. Glenn in Oak Brook.
Yeah, good morning. Bjorn Lomborg just wrote an article on Imprimis, the April 2023, talking about thinking smartly about climate change. And I'll point out two items. The first item is 100 years ago, the deaths from climate were nearing 500,000. And today, the deaths from climate change are under 50,000. So he goes on to say our focus should not be on policies that cost a lot, deliver little, and in the end likely don't even work. Rather, we should focus our efforts on developing new technology and encouraging innovation that will lead to the production of affordable and dependable green energy. It is possible for us to have a sensible climate policy without breaking the bank.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Glenn. Lumberg makes this point all the time that more people die in terms of weather conditions. More people die from cold than from heat. And yet we're supposed to take away people's ability to warm themselves. Like they're doing, not in a real way, but in a creature comfort kind of way when they're talking about getting into your kitchen and regulating your appliances. Tim in Woodstock.
Hi, good morning, Dan and Amy. Yeah, John Kerry and his ilk they're in need of a climate reanalyzer, all right.
Yeah.
Would it include content from people like Patrick Moore and Bjorn Lomborg? But being that it's coming from the University of Maine, that's not going to happen. But Kathy Hochul really let something slip at the end that I think goes to the heart of what the left, their general worldview, in that she said we have to do everything in our power to protect our people.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing could be antithetical to the American way of life in that statement. It's like, really? Everything in your power? No, actually, I don't want you doing everything in your power to protect me.
Thanks for the call, Tim. Yeah, the safetiest, the flowery rhetoric of the safetiest, right? I just want to protect you. I'm just trying to save lives. How many times do we have to hear this on how many topics before it stops having any resonance, before we get what this is, which is a naked power grab? But here again, the problem is that you've got a significant percentage of the population that just is asleep from the neck up. They're just dead from the neck up. Again, capacity problem, even more than that, a desire problem. I don't even want to try to understand, to process, to think. Chuck and Delavan.
The very first septic tank lid I dug up was in Cedar Lake, Indiana, and Chuck the junk man had the sucker truck. Too many people came from Chicago at a cottage or flushing the toilet, filled it up. So he sucked it up. Then he wrung 2 chickens' necks, threw their heads back in. We covered the lid up. This guy don't know nothing about septic tank. In the state of Wisconsin, you have to have your septic tank for the whole state inspected every 2 years. Costs $250, and they come out and they check it, make sure it works. There's no methane. I don't think this guy's ever dug a septic tank lid up.
Oh, you don't think John Kerry's ever dug a septic tank? Oh, you don't say.
He doesn't even know what it is.
Wait, so not to, the risk of going deeper into the muck here. Why did the guy wring the neck of 2 chickens and throw them in the septic tank? Is that for good luck? What is that?
Because you have to get the bacteria back. So what happens is when you flush your toilet, there's bacteria in there and it feeds on itself and it makes the poop, go away, and then it drains out into the filter bed. So what happens is when you got a lot of people coming, and if you got like a group of like 40 people coming to one place in a cottage, they keep flushing the toilet, and what happens is it overloads the septic tank and the filter bed, and then it leaches out of the ground. And if you're anywhere near a lake or a cottage, then that water can run off into the lake and
Chuck,
make it deep.
Chuck, I could listen to you talk about
This is
septic tanks
good.
all morning. You know that. Thanks for the call. More septic tank stories from Chuck and Delavan in our future. Boy, that was some segment. We covered everything from pooage to Aurora Borealis. That is a lot of coverage.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll update you on the COVID crimes committed by the CDC at 6:36.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
72 degrees at 6:30 on AM 560. The Answer. Northwestern University has made a very controversial decision to move on from its head football coach. University announcing Monday that Pat Fitzgerald has been fired. The decision comes in the wake of a 2-week unpaid suspension the school had announced on Friday following a university commission investigation into hazing operations with allegations within the program that seemed to clear Fitzgerald and football operations. Fitzgerald has hired an attorney. President Biden meeting with other NATO leaders at a 2-day summit in Lithuania.
We agree on the language that we proposed, that you proposed, relative to the future of Ukraine being able to join NATO. And we're looking for a continued united NATO.
The meeting comes up just as alliance member Turkey drops objections to Sweden joining up. Still not clear how a small bag of cocaine ended up in the White House. Secret Service continuing its investigation. It could wrap up early this week. The Marine Corps without a leader for the first time in over 160 years, but there is a reason. Commandant General David Berger officially retired yesterday, leaving his assistant commandant as acting leader until he's confirmed in the Senate. But Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama has a hold on all Pentagon nominees over the Pentagon's abortion policies. The Illinois Freedom Caucus plans to address this week what it says is an outrageous decision by a state capitol facility to put young girls in danger by allowing transgender women to use a locker room with biological women. A group of Republican legislators will hold a news conference Thursday afternoon across from the Springfield YMCA, a facility where the family of a 16-year-old swimmer says they were kicked off the team for questioning why biological males were allowed in a women's locker room. Last month, when the issue first surfaced on social media, Springfield YMCA Communications Director Lou Bart tried to tamp down the controversy.
That we don't get to decide if the fine lines of something, if something's inappropriate or not. We, if it's anything close, we need to report it. We're legally liable to report it.
On Monday, Bart said it was his opinion that the swimmer in question left on her own and she was not prevented from practicing. After continued audits highlight various findings and a lack of oversight in Illinois state agencies, legislators are finally beginning to take notice. In the past week, a series of audits were released. In one rare adverse opinion, and that opinion was given for the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, who had 37 negative findings and 10 were repeats. Now, the governor's trying to downplay serious allegations of wrongdoing in his administration. Streamwood State Representative Fred Crespo says they'll get to the bottom of it.
Are these things that require statutory changes to make sure that these findings are not repeated? Oftentimes, they'll attribute the findings to lack of oversight, and we need to then ask them, well, if it's lack of oversight, what are you doing about it?
The next Legislative Audit Commission hearing has yet to be scheduled. There are bacteria warnings this morning for 3 Milwaukee County beaches. Public health managers yesterday north of the border saying the water at South Shore Beach, Doctors Park, and Atwater Park in Milwaukee County all have elevated bacteria levels. Chicago sports home run derby last night. White Sox outfielder Luis Robert Jr. won his first-round matchup, then bowed out in the second round, falling to Rays slugger Randy Arozarena in the semis 35-32. The news, a service of MyPillow. The brand new MyPillow 2.0 is now buy one, get one free with promo code LIBERTY. Machine washable, dryable, 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com, promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Dennis Prager Show.
You'd be proud of this country because there's no place that has ever reached the freedom and opportunities for people that America has. And that was true until the left, composed of the bored, the empty, the angry, the spoiled, decided to tear it down. And they're doing that.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Everyone drives at Metro Ford. When you're shopping for a new vehicle, you have high expectations. At Metro Ford, we love meeting and exceeding those standards for each and every customer. You'll be amazed at our fast and hassle-free shopping experience. Visit our website at emetroford.com and design your dream deal with just a few clicks. Shop our inventory of new and used vehicles. Customize a payment that works for you. You can even sign online and drive away today. It's that easy. Plus, we'll find the very best deals and incentives for people of any credit situation. Good credit, bad credit, no problem. That's why we say everyone drives at Metro Ford. Stop in today. We're located at 6455 Southwestern Avenue in Chicago. Or shop at your convenience 24/7 at emetroford.com. Find out why.
Metro Ford's on everywhere. Metro Ford's on everywhere.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm older and I have more energy, just like all the commercials that I see on TV. So it really is a help to my well-being.
I'm 80 years old. I clean up after 450 kids in a cafeteria for 3 hours, and then I clean 300 steps, and then I vacuum carpets and clean halls in 5 hours because for an 80-year-old, that's a lot to do. And I still have energy after work. I consider it a great success.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having nationwide access with an annual deductible of only $226. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor, C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com, is someone I know and trust. He's a 28-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
6:38, let's get an update on the roads. We do that in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country. A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. You bet. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com. The Eden's already at 33 Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy at 54 O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike inbound jammed up solid between Wolf and Des Plaines Avenue. There, an accident blocks the left-hand lane. Delays on 55 northbound between Weber and Route 53. Dan Ryan outbound, an accident with a right lane blocked at 71st. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny through the morning, more humid, and a thunderstorm will crop up this afternoon. High 84. 72 right now. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're moving into a better place post-COVID in terms of getting to more people who are able to be gotten to. But the truth of what happened over the last 3 years, the impacts of the decisions that were made. No COVID amnesty. This is
not for this girl. Never, never, ever. You mess with me, fine. You mess with my children, no.
This
never.
is not a sanctuary space for COVIDians. That's for sure. We're getting to a better place. Yes, in part because of the postmortems, all the studies that are being done, and all the admissions of malfeasance, reluctant as they may be, that are coming from the CDC. For example, CDC admits not including diagnostic codes showing COVID vax as a cause on some death certificates. The CDC's explanation for leaving certain diagnosis codes off Minnesota death certificates that cite COVID-19 vaccines as a cause of death, allegedly hiding vaccine injuries in federal records, shows intent to deceive, according to a person who helped analyze the death certificates for the Brownstone Institute. That's where our friend Jeffrey Tucker is. John Beaudoin Sr. is suing Massachusetts for submitting fraudulent death certificates to the feds for falsely labeling COVID as a cause of death. This guy's law school expelled him for refusing the vaccine mandate.
Of course.
And
they're out of their minds.
The suit includes a 123-page exhibit analyzing death certificates he claims either wrongly omitted vaccine-induced deaths or falsely attributed them to COVID. Yeah. Oregon lawmakers similarly sought a federal grand jury investigation into COVID statistical manipulation nearly 2 years ago, claiming CDC employed a double standard exclusively for COVID-19 data collection that inflated cases and deaths starting early in the pandemic. And again, nobody is saying that people didn't die, and people didn't get sick, and it was a serious thing. All we're saying is what we're saying, which is that the federal government lied and manipulated and propagandized and silenced, and all of that is unacceptable.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
But the reason I think we're getting to a better place and why I'm a bit more optimistic that this won't happen again is because the principles of all of those bad actions I just detailed are now becoming objects of ridicule in popular culture. Dana Carvey and David Spade on Spade's recent podcast.
I miss COVID.
I know. Dude, you know what I knew? There was trouble when anyone that came to our country didn't have to get a vaccine. And I go, if you're telling me I can't go to work, but everyone coming in doesn't have to get one, I go,
well, once we found out when Fauci said, okay, I'm sorry, but if you've had 2 boosters and 2 vaccines, you can get and give COVID to another guy who's had 5 vaccines and 4 boosters. What's the difference between a vaccine and a booster? I don't know. Just more vaccine, but booster sounds better. Anyway, a guy with 25 vaccines would get and give COVID to another guy with 25 vaccines. That's why I'm introducing the daily COVID shot. Every day you get a shot. By the time you get to your car, you got no immunity. But it's a beautiful 39 seconds.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's the good news. Yeah, they're being objects of ridicule.
Think how they just threw money at people. And some people would get shots just because they wanted another $100 Visa gift card.
Are you still thinking about getting a booster? The the 25th booster, whatever number
I think
we're
we're
on.
on 5. Justin, what are we on? I think we're on 5 or 6.
Don't care. Don't actually care.
You don't care. But the doctors still are shoving it down your throat.
Well, that's the issue.
And
That's
it's
exactly the issue.
No, I don't trust anybody anymore. I don't trust the government.
Well, if your
I don't trust
doctor
the
is
CDC.
pushing this on you, you may point him or her to this story. CDC says 96.7% of adults had antibodies to the virus, either from infection, vaccination, or a combination of the two. So we're at 97% antibodies to the virus, and they're still pushing boosters?
Uh-huh. I would love to hear from a sane doctor out there who knows about.
Well, there are many sane doctors.
Yes.
They just didn't get much amplification from the press corps.
Well, they
except
were
for,
silenced.
Except for, except for, outlets like ours and the Brownstone Institute and a few other outlets and shows. By the way, we've talked a lot about deaths of despair and disease that occurred during COVID, the spike. Talk a lot about young people and drugs. Medical research has also found a jump in alcohol-related liver disease directly linked to the COVID pandemic years. Increasing number of cases of alcohol-related liver illness from 2016 through 2020, according to researchers at Washington State. The increase especially sharp in 2020, year zero, 12.5% spike over 2019 cases discovered. Dr. Chris Cowdley at Washington State. Severe liver disease seemed to be rising over time, but it appears to have increased even more dramatically during the pandemic. We confirmed that alcohol-related hepatitis hospital admissions increased continually from 16 to 20. We also found that younger patients and women had a higher increase in in-hospital mortality compared to their counterparts. Yeah. So, the damage reports continue to flow in, don't they? And again, when we talked to Dr. Marty Makary a couple weeks back, he said the same thing. It's like, look, there's no need for all of this. And oh, by the way, there is a need to do the research and the testing that is otherwise normally done, particularly when you have more of an open-ended timeline. You're not under pressure to come up with a virus because you're in the middle of this thing like we were in 2020. And yet they still don't do it, these drug companies. And they're still not pressed to do it by the public health establishment. Yeah. But as I say, we continue to document what occurred, the impacts of it, the responsible parties, and hopefully you get more cultural criticism on the order of Spade and Carvey, because when you become an object of ridicule, when you're not to be taken seriously, is when you're done having influence. And that seems to be where Tony Fauci and his COVIDian brethren are trending. Ryan in New Lenox, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan and Amy, thanks for taking my call. This whole thing is so obviously insidious, and I think I've found the latest iteration of this type of thinking. It doesn't have to do with COVID exactly, but I think it's indicative of the safetyism that you so often talk about. Did you see the article that said that taking care of your health has become a, quote, far-right obsession?
A right-wing obsession, yeah.
It's crazy.
Exercise is white supremacy. Yeah.
Exactly. We all, I won't speak for others, but I speak for myself. I gained a lot of weight during COVID, and I'm dealing with the ramifications of that and trying to get on more of a regimen to lose weight and gain some muscle and take better care of myself.
Good for you.
So that I'm around in, 40, 50 years for my kids.
Yeah.
It's nonsensical, but that's the point. If they can get you to believe the nonsensical in this area, what's a few other things having to do with politics or culture or whatever.
Yeah, it's a good point. Thanks for the call, Ryan.
I mean, our health was so important, and they shut down the gyms. She shut down 18 miles of the lakefront. She had police officers guarding the lakefront.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let anybody swim for 3 years, Dan. Public pools in Chicago, Park District pools, are finally open 3 years later because Dr. Nzike didn't like fecal spread. Because
Yeah.
she didn't like swimming. So she didn't like it. Nobody could do it.
I think Ryan's onto something, actually, though. The more ridiculous the cover story, the more likely it is to be believed and adopted. It's really something, the madness of crowds, isn't it?
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Experts are saying the biggest economic implosion is coming. Where's your money right now? In real estate, the stock market, or heaven forbid, a bank? Those in the know are calling Swiss America, a leader in precious metals for over 40 years. Your financial advisor says metals don't earn interest. You'll never beat inflation without taking huge risks. And advisors hate precious metals because they can't make money off it. With your money safely stashed in precious metals, you can insulate yourself from the coming crash. To help get you started, Swiss America is offering beautiful U.S. silver walking Liberty half dollars at the amazingly low price of just $13.50 each. Delivered. Limit 250 coins per customer while supplies last. To take advantage of this deal, call or text 800-630-1495. That's silver walking Liberty half dollars for just $13.50 each, delivered to your door while supplies last. Help protect your assets today. Call or text 800-630-1495. That's 800-630-1495. Message and data rates may apply.
You can shed that fat, be slimmer for the summer, Ryan in New Lenox. No more wearing cover-ups or T-shirts in the pool. NJ Diet will help you the natural way. There are no shots, no hormones, and no surgery. You'll lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans, to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose the weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat, not just losing water. And you even get Dr. T's personal email and phone number. Dr. T, Dr. Turovitz, is the founder of NJ Diet. NJ Diet has locations close by in Skokie and Oak Brook, or is available from home with live online video consultations. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. Hi, my name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. And right now, I've become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. This is not a work of fiction. It's a terrifying reality looming on the horizon. But there is a bit of good news. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. They are specialists in converting your traditional assets, like those inside an IRA or 401k, into tangible assets such as physical gold and silver. Don't allow your money to be controlled. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Call 800-900-8000.
I need some Dan Proft parenting tips. You say you're going to help out, but you're not helping out. You're not making time in the show for my son, Peyton, who's now Peter. He's turned on me. Just like the disciples turned on Jesus.
I'll take care of it in 60 seconds or less.
Okay. All right. Now's the time when structural problems can start in your home. If you're noticing new cracks in your walls or brickwork, sinking ground or concrete, sagging floors, gaps under the baseboard, sticking doors, windows, all of these are symptoms of structural foundation problems. And it's time to call Permaseal Basement Systems. All too often, homeowners ignore the signs. They get busy. And then guess what? You'll experience even bigger problems later on, which in turn costs way more to fix. Call Permaseal today. 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325. You can rely on an honest, accurate, and free evaluation from Permaseal's trained experts. For a free, thorough inspection, call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325. Or visit permaseal.com. SignatureBank.net.
Are you a business owner with a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, and a plan for growth, but you just need the right bank? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that Signature Bank is all about going the distance for commercial banking customers. It's what Signature Bank does every day. Their team understands that accessibility is key to their culture. In times like these, you want a bank that is there for you to weather the bad times and capitalize on the good. And with Signature Bank by your side, you can't go wrong. It's a true partnership. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right, I'm a customer. I believe in what they have to offer, from innovative tech and customized solutions to help your business grow and thrive. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Okay, I have a question. Do you want to eat more fruits and vegetables, but it's just too hard? Let me tell you about Balance of Nature. We all know that our bodies need a wide variety of fruits and vegetables to get the proper amount of nutrition. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies provides a colorful variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables. Your body will get thousands of phytonutrients from every capsule. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Building owners, property managers, and chief engineers. This one's for you.
Hello, this is Bruce Diedrich with Waukegan Roofing, your professional roofer. Everything starts on top. Your investment, your building, and everything in it is protected by your roof. It needs to be in good shape. That's where we can help. If it needs to be repaired or replaced, or you think it might, call us. Let's find out. Here's the number.
847-623-1625.
At Waukegan Roofing, our employees are union-trained roofing professionals with OSHA safety training certifications and have thorough knowledge and expertise regarding the various roofing systems we sell, maintain, and install. We know commercial roofing systems because that's all we do. Over 110 years of doing commercial roofs. Waukegan Roofing has the slogan,
Roofs you can rely on.
Because you can. Here's the number to call.
847-623-1625.
And get the info at waukeganroofing.com. waukeganroofing.com.
How far will the left go to win 2024? Will they send out more stimulus checks or give away trillions more to left-wing groups? The simple truth is they don't care if your retirement is eroded down to a fraction of its value. They just want to win. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to encourage you to diversify your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into a physical gold IRA. And the only company I recommend for gold IRAs is conservative-owned Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word HEDGE to 989898 to get their free info kit on gold IRAs. Do this now before Democrats have a chance to legislate away your life savings. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting HEDGE to the number 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. So use your agency. Take action now. Text the word HEDGE to the number 989898.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Should Northwestern build on eliminating their football program by just eliminating all men's sports? Maybe go be a girls' school like the college that Tiny Dancer went to.
Oh.
We'll discuss at 7:07.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Northwestern University fires Pat Fitzgerald, and this morning there is a response from the former Northwestern coach. Northern Lights could be seen here in the Chicago area coming up on Thursday. There's a woman killed in a wrong-way crash identified. A USDA secretary issues a disaster declaration for Illinois due to drought and tornadoes. A federal jury has convicted a Grundy County businessman of investment fraud. A former Chicago alderman could be facing much more legal trouble. And WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
He stood shoulder to shoulder with our allies. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Biden just took a group photo with our allies at the NATO summit in Lithuania.
We're looking for a continued united NATO.
He will speak tomorrow about the U.S. and our allies' efforts to support Ukraine, as well as meet one-on-one with Ukrainian President Zelensky. The two have met before, including here in D.C., and while the U.S. remains a staunch supporter of Ukraine in its war against Russia, the Biden administration says it still does not believe Ukraine is ready to join NATO, at least at this point.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House. Zelensky tweeted it's absurd Ukraine might not get a NATO invite, saying it'll give Russia motivation to continue its terror. Vermont's under a state of emergency, parts of it underwater. Dozens of people needed to be rescued, just like Sunday in New York, where one woman was swept away and killed in Orange County. Fox Weather's Katie Byrne is there.
There are crumbling streets and debris spanning miles. The rushing water was powerful enough to mangle train tracks as it moved through kind of like a waterfall. That's how a lot of people described it. All through these towns, it brought in massive trees and then also boulders with it. So very dangerous scene. A lot of people felt trapped inside their homes.
Michael Burham still on the run after escaping Thursday from the Warren County, Pennsylvania jail. State Police Lieutenant Adam Reed just tells Fox, not only is Burham an outdoor survivalist, he may have some help.
He's local to the area there. He has ties to western, southern New York as well.
Former President Trump, the frontrunner in the Republican race trying to get that job back, wants to delay a trial in the classified documents case until after the 2024 election. His legal team saying it'll limit their ability to get a fair and impartial jury. The former president's pleaded not guilty to 37 criminal charges over classified materials he took after leaving office. This as another grand jury is being seated in Georgia to consider criminal charges against the former president or his allies over his efforts to overturn 2020 election results.
Partly sunny skies, 72 degrees, and there could be an afternoon thunderstorm on the way. 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Northwestern University has made the controversial decision to walk away from its head football coach. The university on Monday announced that longtime coach Pat Fitzgerald has been fired. The decision comes in the wake of a 2-week unpaid suspension the school announced on Friday, following a university-commissioned investigation into hazing allegations within the program that seemed to clear Fitzgerald and football operations. Meantime, Fitzgerald is now speaking out after his firing. He released a statement saying he was surprised that the NU president, Michael Schill, revoked an agreement to receive a 2-week suspension to resolve that investigation. Fitzgerald adding that his attorney, Dan Webb, and agent Brian Harlan will take the necessary steps to protect rights in accordance with the law. Former Chicago Alderman Patrick Daley Thompson could be facing more legal trouble. The Tribune reports court probation officials have accused him of failing to pay restitution for his tax-related conviction. The grandson and nephew of Chicago's two long-serving mayors was sentenced last year to 4 months behind bars after being found guilty of lying to the feds and filing false income tax returns. As part of that sentence, Thompson was ordered to begin paying approximately $60,000 in restitution within 60 days of his release. Officials in Northwest Indiana are seeking to close gas stations during the early morning hours. The Hammond City Council is considering the ordinance at a meeting this evening. The proposed measure would require any gas station in the city to shut down between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m. Cubs and White Sox conclude day 2 of the Major League Baseball draft. 8 more players now within each of their systems. And the Rookie League Bulls will get to try to get back above 500 in their final game of Summer League action against Sacramento. The news service of Dan and Amy 24/7, around the clock, all day, every day. Listen now, danandamy247.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink in the other. Join Dennis Prager live in Chicago for Cigar Night on Thursday, August 24th at Klein Creek Golf Club in Winfield. Dennis will be joined by AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by healthinsurancementors.com and by Blue Star Security.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. Your business and your money are in good hands with Signature Bank. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dan Migatz, co-owner and CFO of AM Woodland Outdoor Design in Mundelein, and a new customer of Signature Bank. We specialize in the creative design and construction of outdoor living spaces, providing our residential and commercial customers first-in-class landscaping services. Our company was founded as a one-man operation, and today has grown into a multifaceted, one-stop shop for outdoor and indoor design and contracting needs. Signature Bank was there to provide the capital needed to grow our expansion efforts. We wanted to work with a bank that understands our business and is relationship focused. Signature Bank is what a relationship bank is all about. We're excited to continue our partnership for many years to come.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
When my alarm goes off at 5:30, I'm out of the bed at 5:31. I'm a morning person. I know that it's working. I know that it makes me feel more energetic. It gives me energy to get up in the morning. And I like having that feeling of jumping out of bed in the morning. At my age, if you can jump any place, that's a good thing. I love it.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Starcase, offering a wide variety of rack frames and server cabinets for your computers and rack-mounted electronics. They also stock the rack-mount accessories you've been looking for. Starcase.com to get started. Inbound Edens, almost 40 minutes this morning. Inbound Lake Cook Road into the junction. 70 minutes on the inbound Kennedy from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike stop and go 25th to California, and then also North Avenue to the Tri-State. Delays on the Stevenson. You're jamming up between Ashland and the Ryan Merge. 46 in from the Tri-State this morning. I-57 has an accident. Inbound between Kenzie and Dixie Highway. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, an accident. 2 left lanes blocked on the northbound side between Hayes and Hyde Park Boulevard. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny, more humid. Perhaps an afternoon thunderstorm kicking up and a high of 84. 72 right now. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Before you make your judgment on whether or not Pat Fitzgerald should have been fired, I want you to hear this exclusive audio we obtained of Coach Fitzgerald sanctioning targeting. This is Fitzgerald right after the Cats lost to Illinois.
When you were a baby in your crib, your father looked down at you. He had but one hope. Someday my son will grow to be a man. Well, look at you now. You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds! Well, if I was you, I'd do something about it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Smoking gun.
I would get up and redeem myself in the eyes of my father, my maker, and my coach. Well, let's get those nerds! 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 What are we waiting for?
And then Stan Gable began simulating dry humping a nerd. And that's where it all unraveled. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Should Northwestern go to an all-girls school?
Wait, what do you mean?
At this point, eliminate men's sports, eliminate men. I mean, to the extent there are men there, formally eliminate them, since they informally don't really exist there anyway. And just be an all-girls school, like just join the Seven Sisters. They can just focus on women's lacrosse and things that Northwestern's good at, rather than trying to field men's sports teams,
such as the football team, the basketball team, the baseball team that was 10-40 or something.
Well, the football team, the football program is over for the foreseeable future. You think anyone wants to go play at Northwestern after this?
Do you think anybody wants to coach at Northwestern after this?
No, not really.
Because I'm on the side of Coach Fitzgerald on this one. I mean, I don't think he would have been fired. I think the 2-week suspension without pay would have been fine. But yesterday, the R word came out. 3 former players came forward saying that, quote, there was a culture of enabling racism. And one guy, Ramon Diaz, he's a former offensive lineman. He's now a clinical psychologist, said that he's still devastated and still has post-traumatic stress from being a football player. He said, I didn't feel like I could be anything other than white. We never felt like we could be ourselves. We had to fit in by being white or acting white or laughing at our own people.
He had to process this trauma he experienced over the last 14 years because he last played for Northwestern in 2009. And so now he's bravely come forward to bitch about things that are just, that are nothing. These are nothing. Does anybody agree that Fitzgerald should be fired? I'd love to hear the argument, because I've heard the statement from the Dickensian named University President Michael Schill, but I haven't heard an argument for why he should be fired. Should have been fired. I mean, I don't really care that much, honestly, because the left cannibalizing the left is entertaining and deserved. Doesn't bother me. But I mean, just as a matter of discussion and on the substance of it, there's a basis to fire him. If you're for the reasonable person standard, if you were the athletic director of the university president, would you have moved on Fitzgerald like this?
I would not. I mean, I honestly, this is a. If they were so traumatized, 14, another guy 18 years ago, why didn't they say something back then?
You know, something else.
That's the
Something
thing,
else that
it's-
crossed my mind too. Let's say for Ramon Diaz. Oh, okay. And you know, the reporting was this mainly the hazing, mainly targeted freshman players by upperclassmen. So,
Why didn't you do anything to stop it, Diaz?
well, that's one thing. If you were the victim of hazing, as a freshman, say, what did you do when you were a junior, senior? Did you participate?
Did you watch and not do anything?
Well, that's so. So Ramon Diaz is complaining about things. These other players are complaining about things, and then what did you do exactly? Not just what did you do to complain, to enlist authorities, and I don't mean law enforcement. I mean like AD, university president, parents, and what did you do on the team? Right? Did the hazed become the hazer? That would not be beyond the realm of possibility, would it? In fact, it's probably more likely than not.
I mean, how many
Has that question been asked of these guys coming forward?
No, I think they forgot to ask. A second anonymous player said that he felt the team was segregated. Are you ready for this? He said the defensive side of the ball had more black players, while the offensive side was often majority white. That made it difficult for an offensive player of color. What? I mean, this is why he got fired.
Right. Yeah, you have. I mean, everybody knows in the
God.
Big Ten you have to have equal numbers of white and black on both sides of the ball. Otherwise, you can't play.
I mean, this is.
So what's the point? What is the point of having men's sports? I mean, and I would say that it applies to women's sports too, but nobody cares about women's sports. They don't make any. I mean, they don't make any money. I mean, in the sense of like, they don't make any money. This is where bread is buttered. This is what boosters pay for. This is why there's a $500 million athletic complex, and they're redoing Ryan Field and Welsh Ryan Arena, and they're all this money. It's because it makes money. So what? But what is the point of having this program? I mean, you might as well just make it a club sport if you're going to even have men on campus at all. Maybe you shouldn't. Robert in Bloomingdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey guys, how you doing this morning?
Good.
Good. The reason I was calling is some of these accusations really sound outlandish, and they better hope that Northwestern has enough. If these are true, because the coach will probably come back and sue for wrongful termination. What do you think?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Robert. What I think what'll happen is they'll negotiate a payout because he's got 7 or 8 years left on his contract. So he's fired for cause, I assume. They'll negotiate a payout, and that'll be that. Northwestern's got plenty of cash. They'll make this go away with cash.
Yeah, but what about Pat Fitzgerald's future? I mean, is he going to coach again? Can he coach again? I want him to coach again. I mean, he even said 9 years ago during an interview with the Positive Coaching Alliance, we don't tolerate hazing. It happened when I was in school, when I played for the Wildcats, but not now.
We had that here back, frankly, when I was a player in some different ways. But, as society's evolved and as we've really thought deep about how we want to welcome our new family members in to our programs and into our organizations, hazing should have nothing to do with it.
Whatever. What is a coach supposed to say? Yeah, we love hazing. I've got all kinds of new hazes I've dreamed up over the offseason.
The car wash, the Shrek clap. Yeah.
He says, what are you supposed to? This is among, as I said yesterday and keep saying, adult male Division I athletes. This is their business. And so you work it out. I mean, short of like actual violence and Class X felonies, you work it out in the locker room. That's what you do. And if it goes too far, then if there's no leadership from players, then you can and should take it to coach, AD, university president, talk to your parents, do what you need to do.
But don't just let it happen.
But this
and then
is,
be
this
offended by it 14 years later.
What is being described is, and the hand wringing by people who otherwise rallied to Northwestern's defense when it earned the title Sex Toy University. Using sex toys on actual human beings, on a woman as part of a class you're paying whatever $4,000 a quarter hour for. Okay. I know it was, I'm not suggesting a crime. I know it was consensual, but that's the sort of place it is. And the same people who, again, have no interest in rampant sexual abuse of minors at CPS or in the government K through 12 school systems more generally. Very selective in their interest level and quote-unquote abusive behavior.
Yeah, Governor Pritzker never spoke out about the CPS sex abuse scandal, but he did about this.
This is not something that should be taken lightly. I know that the Northwestern leadership has not taken it lightly, and as more information has gotten to them, they've done, as you know, an independent review.
What an important statement.
Wow.
Don't take it lightly. We can't take anything lightly with that fat bastard. Oh, by the way, that's not the only male sports program under fire. I'm sure you saw. Northwestern's baseball team, yeah, they got one. Actually, there's a couple of ball players that have gone to the majors from Northwestern, like Mark Loretta.
Okay.
Trying to think who else. But anyway.
They have the new baseball coach who came from Army.
Yeah, worst program in the Big Ten, of course, 10-40 last year. A probe of Northwestern's baseball team cites coach's abusive behavior. The guy's name is Foster, Jim Foster, and he's accused of creating a toxic workplace environment by 9 players and staffers.
And wait till you hear what they let. What did he do to them, Dad?
Among his crimes, he spoke negatively about his staff to other staff members.
Oh my goodness, no.
And also his interactions with players and staff could sometimes be cold, and other times even rise to the level of combative.
Let me clutch my pearls. Oh no.
Take refuge from thy serpent's tongue. Shelter thee from negativity. Northwestern baseball players and staffers.
I wonder what's going to happen to him today. Nothing should happen to him.
Barry in Deerfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan, Amy. Good morning. The prevalent attitude about, well, he needs to be fired, and the situation certainly needs to be addressed. But when you have, Jerry Sandusky, Joe Paterno, the events at Michigan State, which all just surfaced over the years, and all the ongoing abuses and hazing and other allegations in Division I NCAA schools that we'll never even hear about. I don't know if that
can't
justifies
compare
the fine.
Sandusky to this at all. That is not.
Well,
he was a pedophile and showering with
or
little
Michigan
boys
State.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
well,
apples and orange groves.
Well, but the overall hazing aspect, when you've got documented cases of Bear Bryant back in the 1960s when he was at Texas, keeping kids in 100-degree heat with no water all day during double sessions, and it was looked at as, well, they're going to toughen them up, and that's part of the program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, where do you differentiate today from then, and what justifies a firing, or what justifies the NCAA coming out and laying down a uniform set of governing rules that say, well, this is how we need to whitewash everything and move forward?
Well, thanks for the call, Barry. I think it's case specific. Because, I mean, hazing is sort of this all-encompassing term. What's hazing? According to Ramon Diaz, it's saying a cross word to him or making him feel like you're being racist. Is that hazing? Is, rat-tailing a guy in the locker room, is that hazing? What's hazing and what isn't? I mean, it's sort of the Potter Stewart on pornography. I know it when I see it. When it crosses the line where it's no longer good-natured or even, a ritual of sorts that is relatively harmless, that doesn't, imperils anybody's physical well-being or mental well-being. I mean, it's not like they're being, locked in an isolation chamber for a month, or thrown in a hole like Shawshank. I mean, that's not happening. So what is hazing? You want it to be like specifically defined, and then we're going to do the same thing we're doing now, which is to take unique circumstances and individual cases and interpret it against whatever definition of hazing you come up with or the NCAA comes up with. How about dispute resolution? Rather than getting into the definitions and hiring white shoe law firms, how about dispute resolution? Some players, this happened, and this is going to happen. Anybody who's ever been on a team of, 15 guys on a basketball team or 80 guys on a football team, it's going to happen. There's going to be frayed nerves. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be fights. There's going to be people who don't get along. There are going to be people who think I'm being mistreated for this reason or that reason, particularly in our identitarian era. How about dispute resolution? How about we're Division I Big Ten athletes, and we're going to figure this out because we need to pull together as a team because we're not very good, and so we better be pulling together as a team if we want to compete in this conference. And if that leadership isn't coming from the players or the coaching staff, well, that may be a reason to fire them and find a coaching staff that recruits players who do provide that sort of locker room leadership, and an AD as well, for that matter. But that requires caring about your sports programs, and Northwestern really doesn't. They don't need to, because unfortunately they have people like Pat Ryan write blank checks for some unknown reason. Certainly not performance-based. I just don't buy this crybaby bull jive from these players. I don't buy it. And I don't buy that this was the way to handle it 14 years removed from playing. I mean, we talk about this in the context of, questionable charges of rape or sexual assault when you wait decades to come forward. That's viewed with a jaundiced eye, and it should be. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but, now I got to ask a lot of questions now, too, because you waited this long. Who'd you talk to in real time? What exactly did they say? Can they recount your story? Do they recount your story the way that you're recounting it? What evidence? And so forth. This stuff, and you take it over to the baseball team, and you got a breaking news. The baseball coach was cold to me. I mean, what? What?
Come on. That is.
Are you crazy?
That's just his coaching style. Please.
Who cares? I don't even care. I don't care what his coaching style is. The assertion is he's cold to me. Maybe he was, and so he's combative with me, and so maybe he was. So what? What are you talking about? What is this? This is a competitive sports environment? Are you serious? It's like I said before. What is do you want the NCAA to regulate only coaches may only compliment players? How about that? Sean and Darian.
All I can say is, where are all the friggin' men in this world? My God in heaven, are we in trouble? When I got 5 brothers and 7 sisters. And when me and my brothers went to Joliet Catholic, my father told the teachers, if they get out of line, knock them right out of their chair. And then when they get home, I'll finish the job. So my point is, a little fear is a good thing. I think it brings on a little respect, and we need a little bit more of that in this world. Thank you, guys. You have a great show. Thank you.
Thanks for the caution. By the way, I mean, football is a little unique, too. You may have heard it's a contact sport.
Yeah, it's a little aggressive.
These guys are jacked up. They're working out together. They're hitting each other. They're going to war together every Saturday, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? I know the war metaphors for sports. But, and so it gets a little rowdy in the locker room, and I'm not trying to downplay it. I don't know. It's weird, this like homoerotic, whatever the hell they were doing in the locker room. But it is not like identity crisis for the program.
Some said, some of the players said that it was team bonding.
I don't even want to know what that means. Mac in the 219.
Yeah, I got to tell you, at least we know why they suck now in sports. But I got to tell you, man, I'm in an 80 and over women's pickleball league because I got a fake ID. I just want to kick some ass.
Yeah.
And these broads are way tougher than these guys.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, though, dry humping is way overrated. My girlfriend did it to me this morning. I still got up for work and made this call, and I'm not damaged. That sounds okay, right?
I mean, Mac, you're a hero. Way to go.
Oh, my gosh.
Way to gut it out, Mac, in the 219.
And he lets it just roll off him like Teflon.
Yeah. No trauma there.
No trauma. He's not going to have a traumatic stress disorder 14 later.
I like me a little of that trauma over by here, if you know what I mean. Know what I'm saying? Frank in Arlington Heights.
Hey, good morning. Well, first, I just want to say from your previous segment, I hope that Chuck from Delavan can give us some more information on effluent in Walworth County. I think that would be very helpful to us.
It's a fascinating topic.
It is. But I want to say is, what would anybody with any dignity put up with hazing for? Any kind of serious, non-joking, simple hazing? What would anybody put up with that for? Are they worried about the financial value of their scholarship? I suppose they could sue on a contract breach basis. Are they worried about the intellectual value of their scholarship? There is none left of that anymore. I mean, colleges have become, woke factories. So, why would you put up with that as a person with any dignity? Why would you put up with it? And I wouldn't. I mean, it's just you'd have to say something about it right away.
Thanks for the call, Frank. Well, Fitzgerald probably winds up in the pros. I mean, that's where he goes. You get out of college. This is why a lot of guys don't want to coach in college. Basketball, football, any of this stuff, because, I mean, the politics exist at the next level too, but they're nothing like an environment like Northwestern.
I feel sick for him and his family this morning because it's hard to not do what you love in the town that you love.
Well, it's more than, I mean, it's,
he's a community man and he's, well, he is.
He's fine, whatever. I mean, I'm sort of ambivalent to him, but the character assassination piece of it, no matter how much money you have, how much money he made, so if the character assassination piece of it is what's unfair here.
And he's hired Dan Webb to be his attorney.
Yeah, okay. Then he's going to be convicted.
All right, stop it. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
All things Illinois related with Ted Dabrowski from wirepoints.org.
But now straight into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
732, 72 degrees. We've been talking about this with Dan and Amy this morning. Northwestern University making the controversial decision to move on from its head football coach. Pat Fitzgerald has been fired, tied to a university-commissioned investigation into hazing allegations. Meantime, Fitzgerald is speaking out, saying he was surprised that Northwestern President Michael Schill revoked an agreement to receive a 2-week suspension to resolve that investigation. Fitzgerald added that his attorney, Dan Webb, and agent Brian Harlan will take the necessary steps to protect his rights. In other news we're following this morning, 6 people, including a Nepalese pilot, were killed in a helicopter crash near Mount Everest on Tuesday. 5 tourists were on board, all Mexican nationals. Heavy rain over the weekend brought flash flooding to communities throughout New York and Vermont.
The water was so strong at times it had the strength to tear apart roads and bridges. That water was pushing trees up against the railing here. There are crumbling streets and debris spanning miles in this area where we are in Highland Falls, but also targeting places like Fort Montgomery and West Point right nearby us. The rushing water was powerful enough to mangle train tracks as it moved through kind of like a waterfall. That's how a lot of people described it. All through these towns, it brought in massive trees and then also boulders with it.
At least one woman from Highland Falls died while trying to escape the flooding. President Biden is set to meet one-on-one with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on the side of this week's NATO summit in Europe. Pennsylvania Crime Stoppers organization is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the capture of escaped prisoner Michael Burnham, who this morning remains on the run. Federal jury convicts a Grundy County businessman for taking part in a scheme to fraudulently raise $130 million from more than 500 investors. Former Chicago Alderman Patrick Daley Thompson could be facing more legal trouble. The Tribune reporting court probation officials have accused him of failing to pay restitution for his tax-related conviction following his release from prison. Closures on Clark Street in River North begin today ahead of the outdoor dining season. The closures impact the area between Grand and Kinsey. The closures will be in place through Halloween. Cubs have 3 players on their roster for the senior circuit at the All-Star Game tonight, led by shortstop Dansby Swanson and pitchers Justin Steele and Marcus Stroman. Luis Robert Jr. is the lone representative for the Southsiders tonight. The news service of MyPillow. Big news, brand new MyPillow 2.0. Buy one, get one free. Washable, dryable in the machines. A 60-day money-back guarantee. MyPillow.com, promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk sees the facade.
This is going to give federal investigators and prosecutors an excuse to close the investigations on Hunter Biden. Oh, he pled guilty. We got it done. We're bipartisan. We go after both parties. This is a veneer of equal justice. It's air cover to go after Donald Trump.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Reveille. At the YMCA in Springfield, Illinois, a 16-year-old swimmer was kicked off the swim team when the girl complained to her coach that there were men in the locker room when she was changing. When she informed her coach of the situation, he responded with, "There's nothing I can do about it." In subsequent meetings with the YMCA executive director, the swim parents asked that the transgender members use the family changing area, a private bathroom, instead of the girls' locker room. The staff said they could not do that because it's discrimination and against the law. Then the families simply asked that at least families be notified of the policy change, but they got the same response. When the 2 girls decided to hang posters in the locker room stating women's rights, biological women only, and safe sport, they got accused of hate speech. This same situation is happening all over Illinois. The Wheaton Park District has sexually integrated their locker rooms, and they did so without a public meeting or an official policy vote from the board. One board member said that all park districts have this policy now. They are hiding behind their lawyers who say the law is making them integrate private spaces. But the lawyers are actually ignoring statutory law that exempts any facility which is distinctly private in nature, such as restrooms, shower rooms, bathhouses, health clubs, from the non-discrimination clause of the Illinois Human Rights Act. Because we have weak leaders and no common sense, there is no doubt the only way in Illinois that this gets settled is with a lawsuit. Thank you to the family in Springfield for having the courage to speak up. I assure listeners, your local Y or park district has the same nefarious policy. What are you going to do about it? I'm Jeannie Ives. Beginning Sunday, July 16th, I'll be on this station from 7 to 9 p.m. discussing these issues and much more. I invite you to join me by listening in and calling into the show. Also, please sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com. That's breakthrough-ideas.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
7:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We're watching the Edens right now, 34 minutes, and climbing Lake Cook Road into the junction. It's an hour and a half on the inbound Kennedy O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike-in right now is running at 65 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, under an hour right now, 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive, about 55 minutes. Dan Ryan in 26 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. I-57, a report of an accident inbound between Kedzie and Dixie Highway. Due to an earlier accident, DuSable Lakeshore Drive is a mess northbound between Marquette and Hyde Park Boulevard. Overturned vehicle on Route 390 eastbound right at Meacham. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny and more humid through the morning. Afternoon thunder showers can't be ruled out, and a high of 84. 72 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Speaking of moving out, I've got the place you might consider moving to.
Yeah, what do you got for me, boss?
It's perhaps the closest thing to Galt's Gulch that exists on this mortal coil.
Okay.
It's a newly minted libertarian city in Honduras. They're calling Prospera. Here's the president, Xiomara Castro, on Prospera.
Destruir el Estado.
Is this radical libertarianism? Is this anarcho-capitalism in action?
In some ways, yes, but not in the way in which those that are attacking us use the attack to try to make it seem as if there is no responsibility, that there's going to be hazardous activities, that there's going to be no consequence for harm done. It could not be further from the truth. So from that perspective, they are absolutely wrong. From the perspective of radical libertarianism, anarcho-capitalism, my reading of it is that they want to see market players and market forces be the regulators. And so this idea of using, for example, insurance companies as a way to mediate, there's no system in the world that more powerfully injects market dynamics into dealing with human relationships and commercial activity. The vision for the platform in Honduras has been to catalyze multiple hubs throughout the country that attract foreign direct investment and generate massive amounts of well-paying jobs for Hondurans in different parts of the country. Ultimately, it's about economic freedom. The main wild card is how the Honduran government chooses to proceed.
Yeah, well, that is a wild card. To be controlled, our economic pursuits is to be controlled in everything, said Hayek. And apparently President Castro has taken that to heart. How about that, Ted Dabrowski? Maybe take a virtual tour of Prospera and see if you can upgrade from the North Shore. Ted Dabrowski, President of WirePoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related, joins us now. Ted?
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. No, I haven't followed Prospera, but I do like the name, a little bit prosperity. Yeah, I haven't followed it. Sounds really interesting, though.
Yeah, well, certainly.
I'm watching the video of it right now. It looks
pretty
pretty nice.
Tropical. I mean, Honduras is one of the poor countries in Central America, but you put a little Hong Kong in the middle of Honduras, we'll see what happens if the Honduran government can keep their grubby hands off of this innovation by the people of Prospera. I love it.
Well,
certainly,
we know the Hispanics are very very entrepreneurial, and they like opportunity. So, but as most of those countries are, they're poor and deeply corrupt in many ways. So it's really hard for the average Joe to figure it out. So
I know, which is
Chicagoans would fit in. I mean, the high crime there, people getting carjacked. I'm watching the video.
Well, which is why this this Prospera idea, now at least partially a reality, which is why it's so impressive.
Well, yeah, I mean, the level of cronyism is fantastic. You know, I spent a good bit of time in Latin America, South America, and it's just so deeply rooted. You know, all the way down the system. It's hard to make do. So
wait,
are we
still talking about Honduras, or are you talking about Chicago? Did you switch over and I missed it?
Well, you know, it's funny. I spent a lot of time in third world countries, you know, working in their markets and stuff, and I always argue that, you know, Illinois is like a third world country, but everything is legalized. All the corruption is legalized, and that's how it works. You know, in those countries, it's illegal, but everybody does it. Here they figured out how to legalize most things.
So prosperity is not a term that's associated with Illinois very often. I mean, except when you're hearing Pauls like Jelly Belly propagandize about hotel receipts and things like this. You look over here, don't look over here where all the action is. You note that we see in the laboratories of democracy around the country, a lot of states moving to lessen the tax burden on their residents, but Illinois is not included.
Yeah, it's fascinating. In the last 3 years, you've had massive drops in taxes across the country. 24 states have permanently cut taxes. And I'm talking about income taxes right now. You know, Texas is joining in cutting property taxes as well just now. So it's a huge move across the country. And you have to remember that 8 states have zero taxes, so they can't lower anymore income taxes, I'm speaking. So it's been a big move. And, you know, it's really interesting even to look right next door. Iowa is moving to a 3.9% flat tax by 2026. So they're dumping the progressive tax, which is what Pritzker wants, and moving to a flat tax in Iowa, 3.9%, much lower than here. Michigan has cut their flat tax to 4.05. Indiana is cutting their flat tax to 3.15. Kentucky cutting its flat tax to 4.5. Even Missouri, which still has a progressive scheme, is cutting their top bracket to effectively the same as Illinois at 4.95. So there's moves all over the country, and people are taking states are taking all that flush, you know, the money that they're flush with after all that COVID money, and they're giving taxpayers a break, but not in Illinois.
Yeah, we'll never see that here.
No,
with property taxes or state income tax, it'll never happen.
No, it's going to be the opposite, Amy. You know, everything I'm looking at right now is the pension discussions finally coming back, and you're looking at businesses leaving. All the statistics are pointing really in a really ugly way, and so we're back to the same, you know, doom thing that I can only see big property tax hikes and no relief at all.
So, Ted, I wanted to ask you about the case against Jenny Thornley, and if you could, you know, give us a backstory quickly on that and what's happening with the investigation. I remember asking Pritzker a few times, and his face, he would just get nervous and end the press conference right away and walk out every time I asked a question about it.
Yeah, this is an interesting story. This Jenny Thornley, she's a former state employee, and she was a former campaign worker for Pritzker. And so she, at some point, sued her boss, this guy named Jack Garcia.
This is at the, by the way, this is at the State Police Board.
State Police, correct,
Yeah.
correct. And so she sues this guy Jack Garcia and, you know, claims sexual harassment. And eventually, it's found that harassment was not true. Several different reports, independent reports, have found that out. Now, on that harassment claim, she files for workers' compensation claims, and she gets the Pritzker administration to help her. And so, even though it's found that her whole claim was faulty and false, she still keeps getting the money, and she still kept getting the money. And so the question has become, you know, why did Pritzker intervene and help her get that, and why hasn't it been taken away? And nobody's challenging it. And Kwame Raoul, the Attorney General, has refused to dig deep. When he was asked about it, Amy, I don't know if it was you that asked, but when he and Pritzker have been asked, they've laughed it off. And it's a question that just sits there and remains unsolved. And there's been a whistleblower to complain about it, but nothing has happened. So we keep reporting on it, seeing if others will grab onto it, but we'll have to wait and see.
So the workers' comp claim was based on harm that she supposedly suffered from that harassment that really didn't happen?
The harassment, correct. The very harassment that had no basis.
Right, debunked by an independent investigation by a law firm, as well as a law firm the governor's office recommended, then by an Illinois State Police investigation. So
And Garcia can't get his job back.
Well, he's got another job now in law enforcement, but it's his reputation that's the issue. And the other thing too is, again, the lack of accountability. Nobody's asking the questions. We talked about this actually last year during the campaign. So why did Jenny Thornley feel comfortable going to both Jelly Belly and his wife for help? Why did they intervene? Why, if she committed work comp fraud, which she did, is there not accountability there coming from the governor's office? What exactly is the nature of the relationship between Jenny Thornley and the Pritzkers, where she is getting special treatment by law enforcement when you include Kwame Raoul? And this is not dissimilar to, Merrick Garland and Hunter Biden.
Yeah, this is a similar story, and there's enough there for lots of questions to be asked at a minimum. And so, the question is why isn't the mainstream media asking the questions? But it goes back to the same old thing. Everybody wants to be in the club. They want to be invited to the dinner parties and the press conferences, so they're not challenging. And it's something we try to keep alive. It deserves a fair discussion. Let Pritzker defend it. Let Pritzker's administration defend it. But he hasn't been forced to, so here we are.
You mentioned pensions are back on the table. We've talked about this for years now, that the worst funded pensions in the state, at least big pension funds, municipal pension funds, Chicago, fire and police. So where do those stand at present? We're always warning about this, and as we've said many times, just don't think people will believe a pension fund can fail until one does. But the actuarial tables tell us Chicago police and fire pensions are going to fail at some point. There's only so much sleight of hand you can do to keep those afloat.
Well, I think if there are pension plans that will fail of any scale, they'd have to be Chicago's. Chicago's are by far the worst. We looked at all the largest funds, those over $1 billion in assets across the country. And one way to look at it is to see just how much cash they have relative to an annual payout they have to make to all their pensioners. And it's by far, these funds are by far the most, we call it illiquid. They don't have money. And so the only way they survive is by taking more and more of the city budget. So you've got, this is a standard, it's called, that's too wonky, but asset, how much in assets do they have versus an annual payout? Chicago's at the bottom of the barrel. They have like 3.4 years left for the firefighters fund, where a good fund would have 20 years worth of payouts just sitting there available for use. So it's hard to see a way out of the pension crisis. Of course, bailouts are always helpful. More money from the state. Money's fungible, so if the state can figure out how to give the money there, but the state's running out of money too, so at least from a pension perspective. So this is a really complex issue, and everybody's going to lose, but in particular, if you care about public safety, these policemen and firemen, they should be screaming and jumping up and down, because the way this is going without reforms, they're going to be the first ones to take a big hit.
Well, and that 3.5 years that they're projected to have, that's based on certain assumptions like compounded annual return on investment. The problem is, though, the benefits that have been conferred just outpace the ability to pay. I mean, this is a point you've made for years. It's not just we're short funding or we're skipping payments on the pensions. I mean, that certainly exacerbates it. But just structurally, you are conferring benefits you cannot reasonably finance.
Yeah, that's been the big issue. Too much government, too many units of government, too many people, and the benefits get bigger and bigger all the time. And right now it's getting worse for Chicago because they're trying to right a different wrong. Those are the Tier 2 pension benefits. Tier 2 are the people who get pensions since 2011. That pension plan is grossly unfair compared to the first pension, the normal pension plan, and so now the politicians are trying to give the Tier 2 workers even more benefits, improve their cost of living adjustments and things like that, which makes the hole in Chicago even bigger. So then you tie back our whole discussion on crime and on education and people leaving and all that, and it's that doom loop we've talked about. I don't see how we get out of it, but right now with the COVID money, it hasn't been a discussion. but it's coming back, and it's coming back pretty strongly. The rating agencies are suddenly warning about it after 3 years of not talking about it.
Ted Dabrowski, president of WirePoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Ted, thanks as always.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Don't defund the police. Hire the police to protect your business. Rising crime has been crippling business owners in Illinois more and more in the past year. Blue Star Security can protect your most valuable asset, your business, to protect both you and your customers. Blue Star Security is the only security company in Chicago with over 500 off-duty police officers, all W-2 employees.
I'm Anthony Barchetto, president of Blue Star Security and a 20-year law enforcement veteran. Our team is exclusively state-certified active and retired law enforcement professionals who provide the highest standards in security. We serve Fortune 500 companies as well as small businesses and individuals, responding rapidly and seamlessly to each assignment. Blue Star Security's technology allows mobilization of off-duty officers quickly and efficiently. Our primary mission is to provide unparalleled protective services for each assignment with integrity while maintaining our commitment to community service in the Chicagoland area.
Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at BlueStarSecurityLTD.com. That's BlueStarSecurityLTD.com.
If you're selling your home or purchasing a new home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Team Hochberg is offering every listener the Perks at Work benefit, which can save you thousands of dollars on your next real estate transaction. Here's how it works. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor sells your home, they'll reduce their fee up to 1%. When a Team Hochberg affiliated realtor helps you purchase a home, you will receive up to 1% of their commission in the form of a closing cost credit. Team Hochberg will credit all of your loan origination fees, and our affiliated attorney will reduce his fee. Last year, a couple who was buying and selling a home saved close to $9,000 with the Team Hochberg Perks at Work program. To learn how you can save thousands of dollars on your next real estate transaction, please give me a call now at 855-56-DAVID or visit our website, 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843 or visit our website, 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Are you growing your manufacturing team this year and need new employees? Turn to Monarch Technical Services. They've been leading the Chicago staffing industry for manufacturing and engineering since 1987. You'll appreciate their vetting process. They meet every candidate in person to interview and test for specific skills. Monarch assesses experience by using blueprint, shop math, part measurement, and CNC program exams. Their quality skills assessor was once a plant manager who worked on manufacturing equipment, so he recognizes who has the skills to fit each job requirement. Monarch Technical now offers a 30-day free trial with any day one direct hire. This allows you to make sure direct hire employees are fitting in before fees are paid. And they have a unique payment option which allows the finder's fee to be paid in 6 equal monthly payments. So if you're growing your manufacturing team this year and searching for exceptional talent, contact Monarch Technical Services at 847-342-1221. That's 847-342-1221. Or online at monarchtechnical.com. That's monarchtechnical.com.
It's a big deal because your finances are a really big deal. Wintrust Community Banks would like to announce our newest and greatest 11-month CD rate with a whopping 5.35% APY. Act now and you can lock in 5.35%. Just go to wintrust.com/locknewrates and start earning more. Annual percentage yield accurate as of May 5th, 2023 and assumes funds remain on deposit until maturity. Minimum daily balance of 1 cent required to obtain APY. $1,000 minimum to open. New money only. Offer may change at any time and without notice. Member FDIC.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
40% of the students at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island say they're LGBTQIA2S+++, and the other 60% are willing to learn. We'll start there with Peter Wood at 8:08.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Northwestern University fires Pat Fitzgerald. Federal jury convicts a Grundy County businessman. And WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
He wants a really long delay. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump, who's running to get that job back, wants the classified documents criminal case against him to be put off until after the 2024 election. His aide, Walt Nauta, a co-defendant, wants that same delay.
The lawyers say such a timeline is unreasonable, arguing there isn't enough time to prepare, sifting through vast documents the government spent years gathering. They also claim that finding jurors in the midst of a presidential election would be incredibly difficult.
Fox's Eben Brown, the former president, already faces trial next year in a criminal case in New York accused of falsifying records and hush money payments in 2016 to keep alleged affairs quiet. While in Georgia, another grand jury is being seated to investigate Trump efforts to overturn 2020 election results. President Biden is in Lithuania, gathered with our allies at a NATO summit.
Adding Finland and Sweden to NATO is consequential.
But Ukraine may have to wait.
President Biden said as recently as this weekend that he does not believe now's the time for Ukraine to join NATO. He says if he fears that were to happen, the U.S. would be dragged into an immediate war with Russia.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky tweeted it's absurd Ukraine might not be considered for NATO now, saying that only helps Russia. Senators will gather today worried about AI.
The briefing is the first ever classified Senate session on artificial intelligence and will happen in a sensitive compartmented information facility at the U.S. Capitol. It's being organized by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and comes after his call last month for comprehensive legislation to address AI.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Vermont's capital Montpelier is underwater. Other areas of the state also flooded in what's a declared emergency. Dozens of people needed to be rescued as people clean up in areas that flooded Sunday in New York.
It was coming down and flooding my front. My kids are in the house and they're scared and they're crying.
One woman was killed. America's listening.
72 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Northwestern University has made the controversial decision to move on from its head football coach. The university announcing Monday that Pat Fitzgerald had been fired. Fitzgerald is speaking out, saying that he was surprised NU President Michael Schill revoked an agreement to receive a 2-week suspension to resolve an investigation into hazing allegations. Fitzgerald added that his attorney, Dan Webb, and his agent will take necessary steps. The Illinois Freedom Caucus plans to address this week what it says is an outrageous decision by a state capitol facility to put young girls in danger by allowing transgender women to use a locker room alongside biological teenage girls. A group of Republican legislators will hold a news conference Thursday afternoon across from the Springfield YMCA, along with the family of a 16-year-old swimmer they say was kicked off the team for questioning why biological males were allowed in a women's locker room. Springfield YMCA Communications Director Lou Bart.
Some people that are members of ours that are transgender, that are known to us, that's because they want to be known to us. I'm sure there are others that we have no idea, and we are not concerned about that. So we can't discriminate against anybody.
Bart says it's his opinion that the swimmer in question left on her own. Chicago Police Department is investigating claims that several officers engaged in sexual misconduct with migrants living at a Westside police station, but there are now some doubts about those claims, as AM 560's Greg Bishop reports.
Late last week, sexual misconduct allegations against police on newly arrived undocumented migrants were revealed. One allegation Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson urged for a thorough investigation. Governor J.B. Pritzker Friday reiterated that.
You know, it's a terrible thing, and I hope there's a full investigation as fast as possible, and if there is wrongdoing, they ought to be held accountable immediately.
Chicago Police Union President John Catanzara questioned the legitimacy of the allegations in a YouTube video Friday.
Because of the ridiculous Safety Act and the provision that eliminated the signed affidavit, making someone attest and swear that the complaint they are making is valid. That requirement is gone.
Since the allegations were made public, migrants have been moved from the police precinct in question while the investigation continues. I'm Greg Bishop.
At 8:04, the news is a service of Cabino Environmental. Home and business owners use Cabino Oil Stain Remover because it's the most powerful oil stain lifting formula on the market. Cabino Oil Stain Remover is available at all 8 Rental Max locations. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Amazon becomes the first U.S. company to challenge EU digital rules and the proposed legislation designed to force big tech to police content online. Amazon arguing it's being unfairly targeted by the law. It filed a petition to annul its designation as a very large online platform under the Digital Services Act, meaning it has extra obligations to go after hate speech and disinformation online. 18 other companies, including Twitter and TikTok, are part of the group singled out by the EU. And Amazon Prime Day is underway, according to MarketWatch. Some of the biggest deals are for popular Amazon devices, including Kindle, Echo Dot, and Echo Show, as well as a premium 23andMe Plus DNA kit and Samsung soundbar. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink in the other. Join Dennis Prager live in Chicago for Cigar Night on Thursday, August 24th at Klein Creek Golf Club in Winfield. Dennis will be joined by AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson for an evening of cigar smoking and good conversation. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by healthinsurancementors.com and by Blue Star Security.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Illinois Sports Medicine, Joe Cotton Ford, Frederick Douglass Foundation, and Mr. Landman. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I have more energy. I am moving. I am on my feet. I went from taking maximum on a very good day, 3,000 steps. Today, 3,000, 4,000 steps is my minimum. I'm up to 5, 6, 7, 8,000 steps a day.
I have 4 children and 8 grandchildren. They're amazed by my ability to be so energetic and do things. I'm still doing things that I did when I was 25 years old, and I'm 66 years old now. This product is amazing.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Less money for the exact same thing. Hope this is clear enough. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, they're here to answer. Switch today and get a second month of service for free. Go to consumercellular.com/free month and enter promo code free month. Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 5 gigabyte data plan and unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023. Promotion subject to terms and conditions.
8:09 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on the Edens. 45 minutes Lake Cook Road into the junction. 90 minutes on the inbound Kennedy from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Kennedy outbound 44 back out to the big airport. I-10 49 from Manheim into the old post office this morning. Stevenson beginning to sort itself out. Now 55 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Accident cleared on the 390 toll road eastbound right at Meacham. An earlier accident pulled out of your way along I-80 westbound between LaGrange and Wolf Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Humid day, partly sunny and a thunder shower. High today 84, partly cloudy, humid. Thunderstorm tonight, low 64. A shower thunderstorm for tomorrow, the high 75. Scattered thunderstorms on Thursday, the high near 83. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
75 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The latest data shows that between 2010 and 2023, identification as LGBTQIA2S plus has almost tripled among the student body at Ivy League's Brown University. 38% of the student body at Brown identify as LGBTQ+++. That's 5x the national rate, according to the. More than that.
More than that. Right.
Although it's getting close, I guess. Yeah, sharp growth at Brown. Interesting. Wasn't Brown University the site where a study was done that concluded that there was a social contagion aspect to the LGBTQ plus identification? And then that study was later repudiated by the president at Brown because, of course, it reached a politically unpopular conclusion and just dissipated into the ether, shall never be talked about again.
Well, more statistics show that homosexuality, they said only 22.9% of the students describe themselves as homosexual. That's down from 46%. So maybe this is the new gay. People are shifting from to trans. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that. You're being very myopic in your discussion of gender identity, and we can't have that. For example, you have to really break this out, get down into the weeds on this, like how many are para boys versus demi boys.
Oh, that's right.
That
tutorial we played a while ago. It's been a while, though, Dan.
Well, I mean, just to keep you updated, because this is, it's just science. Well, made up science. Demi boy versus para boy, the difference between the two. This gentleman who is now reportedly on the short list to replace Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern as a head football coach explains.
What's the difference? Yow! Para boy versus demi boy. Hey.
People who identify as paragender feel as though their gender is made up of a dominant gender and a minor gender or genders. And people who identify as paraboy feel as though their dominant gender is male, while their minor gender could be any gender and genders, but their dominant is male. Versus people who identify as demi-boy, who feel as though part of their gender is male and the other part could be any or multiple genders. The only difference between paraboy and demi-boy is people who identify as paraboy know that their dominant gender is male, while people who identify as demi-boy feel as though their gender is partly male. People who identify as demi-boy may feel that part of their gender is male, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is the dominant gender. Versus people who are paraboy who know that their dominant gender is male. Not every paraboy and demi-boy are the same as other paraboys and demi-boys, and they may identify as any way that they want to identify. But we love all our paraboy and demi-boys! Yeah.
Got it? I hope that clears things up. That's a young man, if he doesn't continue in pursuing head coaching positions in the Big Ten, maybe Ivy League University president someday for him. Bright future. Peter Wood is the president of the National Association of Scholars. He joins us now. Peter, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me again.
This is just sort of my supposition, but I believe at Northwestern, 100% of the men on campus either identify as paraboy or demi-boy. So this is really interesting development. The composition, this postdates me though.
Yes.
The interesting development going on at our institutions of deep thinking, the identitarian feature of the student body.
Well, I think that part of what happens here is that masculine men rightly decide that college is not for them, at least for those colleges. There's an invitation to join in the gender confusion stuff, but it's very unappealing to most men, and it's certainly putting the women on campus in a bad position too, in that they generally are heterosexual and want to date men, probably not demi-men or semi-men or
paraboys.
They are.
Yeah.
Paraboys.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably so. Although, they're finding ways to cope. I mean, Brown University has seen students identifying as other sexual orientations in the umbrella there increased by 800% in the last 14 years. That's a big increase. It's weird. The self-selection that's going on, or maybe there's something else afoot.
Well, self-selection, and you used the term a moment ago, social contagion. Brown has always been a place that has been particularly susceptible to fads and enthusiasms and sort of the keeping up with the Joneses of left-wing activism. And now you're not anybody if you haven't developed a queer identity of your own, whether you're identifying with cats or hippopotami or whatever it is. You have to have something that distinguishes you as distinctly weird and therefore normal.
Mm-hmm. All right, trying to pull ourselves out of this spiral and talk globally about post-secondary education. Your commentary on the Supreme Court's decision in the Harvard admissions case and what you think the implications will be in the Ivy League, but not limited to the Ivy League. I mean, we're talking mainly about elite college, quote-unquote elite colleges, meaning they don't accept very many applicants. I guess that's what makes them elite, certainly not their curriculum. But what impact will it have? Will it be substantial in terms of the quality of education at the post-secondary level or not?
Well, certainly not in the short term. All of these colleges and universities have declared their determination to find ways around the Supreme Court decision, so they will continue to admit substandard students in the name of trying to advance equity, diversity, inclusion, and I think they will succeed at that for the short term. That probably means that there's a lot more litigation in the future as groups that are at the losing end of that spectrum file further lawsuits, and the Supreme Court has to weigh in again and again to say, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. But American higher education at the elite level is absolutely fixated on its idea of diversity, not sort of real diversity of thought or opinion, but it's make-believe diversity of skin color or ethnicity, and that is what they're going to continue to do no matter what Justice Roberts and the majority of the court had to say. That doesn't mean that this is a useless decision by any means. It just is not going to transform higher education immediately. In the longer term, there's some possibility. Certainly, Harvard is going to have to try harder to hide what it's doing, and there are ways to do that. Some of them are right out in the open now, eliminating standardized tests as a admissions requirement is basically a way to hide the evidence that they're admitting people on a double or triple standard. They will continue to find ways to divert scholarship money preferentially to blacks and Hispanics. It's all going to be in play, and the organs of opinion sharing in higher education, like the Chronicle of Higher Education and Inside Higher Ed, are just filled with how-to articles. This is the best way to avoid that noxious law. Is the theme of the day, or the week, or the month, or the year for higher education.
But isn't the world going to be watching Harvard to make sure that they admit more Asians come the fall, or how are they going to, skirt tail around this?
I believe that Harvard will admit more Asians in the fall. Nothing like the number that would be admitted were they playing the game straight, but enough to be able to boast to the public that, see, we've got it. We're moving from 22% Asian to 25% Asian, something like that. We'll have to wait and see what it is. There was a earlier version of this same game played out at Yale in the early 1990s when the Justice Department came down on Yale for discriminating against Asians. And in one giant leap, Yale went from something like 16% to 25%. Those aren't the exact numbers, but it was that sort of thing, and got the Justice Department off their back. So I think that's the way this is going to go. But who believes that today's Justice Department is going to enforce the Supreme Court's ruling? If anything, they will be a partner in trying to subvert the ruling.
This other piece that you wrote over the Spectator is very interesting. Forget thinking about Big Ten or SEC, whether they go to college or go to work. Go to college, but set sail. Elaborate.
Well, I had a conversation with several of my colleagues along the lines of, if we had a whole lot of money, what one thing could we do that would rescue some students from the blight of contemporary education? My off-the-cuff suggestion was, well, we could rent a ocean liner and recruit a couple hundred students who are willing to make the sacrifice of perhaps 2 years of their lives and set sail with no access to social media, just cut off from the rest of the world, with teachers that are willing to commit to this experiment as well, although you could pick up new ones at every port, and see if a set of steps that isolates the students from the bad trends in American higher education and gives them intensive education in the things that really matter. When they come back to port after 2 years, wouldn't they have better education than most students who spend 4 years or 5 years struggling with the disgracefully scattered curricula and the ideological domination that now are the standard of American higher ed? Just a thought experiment. Of course, if some billionaire wants to come along and take me up on the experiment,
Yeah.
I'd be delighted.
You're ready to
tell it
set
works
sail. Yeah, yeah.
It could be a reality show. We could
All
sell it on
aboard.
Salem.
Yeah, that's not bad, actually. Yeah, that's not bad. 2 years at sea, learn in lieu of 2 years on the land, and at U of I or someplace. It's interesting. I like it. It's University of Austin is one concept. Peter Wood's Marine University is another. Peter Wood, president of the National Association of Scholars. Peter, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
When life ends, your legacy begins. Ensure your legacy lives on at Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, with 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties. Take advantage of 0% financing, lock in today's prices, and safeguard yourself against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
All right, for years now, you've heard about Turnkey offering more than just managed IT services. Now they're stepping up their game, offering even more business solutions to help you navigate the day-to-day hurdles and basically to help you grow, to help you make more money. Do you have a long-term strategy such as identifying new revenue streams, growing your customer base, or increasing your bottom line? Then you have to get in touch with Turnkey because they can help. Maybe it's a short-term problem like an employee leaving abruptly, filling a position you've had open for months. Maybe you need a shift supervisor, a part-time CFO, an IT guy, a temporary general manager. Guess what? Turnkey can help. Whether it's a seasonal problem or a long-term need, Turnkey's consulting staff has years of experience in nearly every business function. And for a limited time, Turnkey will provide a free consultation to look at your situation and see what it would take to resolve it. Go to turnkey.pro and learn more. The pros at Turnkey share your values, and they're Chicagoland small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
This is Jerry Boyer for townhall.com. A district judge recently issued an injunction forbidding the government from talking to tech companies about banning content. That's a good thing. When government holds the power to destroy a private business, even its suggestions are inherently coercive. So, for now, government is off the backs of Facebook, YouTube, and the rest. But that's not enough. These companies need to actually embrace the freedom they've been given and stop acting as the regime's censors. Tech companies are not innocent victims of government. According to Alliance Defending Freedom's Viewpoint Diversity Score, big tech has vague and subjective standards of free expression and shows serious signs of bias. Just because the government is no longer allowed to use its power to force these companies to be biased doesn't mean that they will automatically become free speech zones. They actually have to choose to be free and fair.
The Pepperdine Graduate School of Public Policy, for those considering careers in politics and policy.
All right. We're talking mortgage rates. We're having fun over here, right, Dan? Yes. It's swinging from chandeliers. All right, but it's about that time to get serious. It's about that time to take Balance of Nature. I do it every morning around this time. 31 whole fruits and veggies, which I can't even name 31 different fruits and veggies, but it's a really cool system. I went to their place in St. George, and they take the vegetables and the fruits, and they put them through a vacuum cold process, which turns it into a powder and stabilizes the maximum nutrient content, and then fill it up in those capsules. I take 6 a day, 6 fruits, 6 veggies, and during the day, if I get a sweet tooth, I just chew on one of those fruit tablets, and it's voila, I'm not hungry anymore. So get the nutrition your body needs. Get the nutrition your body craves, because good nutrition, well, it's the foundation of all aspects of health. The number to call, 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago, or simply go online to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
And Doug. With Liberty Mutual, you can customize your car insurance to save hundreds. Here's what those savings sound like in dollar bills. Here's what it sounds like in quarters. And here's what that sounds like in cryptocurrency, a thing I totally understand. 1010, I am money, cha-ching, beep boop, $.
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com. Savings may vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child, too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Want to remodel your kitchen or bathroom? There's only one name to remember: ForEverRemodeling.com. Not Core Ever Remodeling or Door Ever Remodeling or Explore Ever Remodeling. It's ForEverRemodeling.com. Need an addition or whole home remodeling? Don't call 1, 2, 3 Ever Remodeling. It's ForEver Remodeling. Want to finish your basement but don't know where to turn? It won't help to think of Store Ever or Snore Ever or Score Ever Remodeling. You want ForEver Remodeling. ForEver Remodeling is your go-to for the highest quality kitchen, bathroom, whole home remodeling, room additions, and basement finishing. So don't go to Decor Ever Remodeling or Implore Ever Remodeling or Dinosaur Ever Remodeling. When you're ready for your project to take off, go to 1098765 ForEverRemodeling.com. That's the number 4EverRemodeling.com. Or call us at 847-809-3355.
AM 560, The Answer.
You asked, do I know any good restaurants in Stockholm?
My pilot friend is in Stockholm. He's looking for recommendations. So any of you Swedes out there, it's been a long time since I've been to Sweden. So I don't really
have
remember.
the herring or the salmon.
All right, if anybody has Stockholm restaurant recommendations, please give us a call or text. Otherwise, at 8:38, we're doing a combo here.
Yeah.
We're
like
doing
the combo, the sausage combo at the Plush Pup.
Amy's got a problem, and she's coming to Dan Proft for parenting tips. And then we also have a latest installment of Why Dan Proft is Single.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll try to stop talking about myself in the third person.
Doesn't Marcus Samuelsson have a place in Stockholm?
I don't know.
I'll check it out.
All right.
I ate in
All right,
Stockholm,
all hands
but
on deck.
Everything was,
All right.
it's all good.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with the
Pizza
herring.
Hut, yeah.
All right, now let's head to the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Can't go wrong with a hand toss. 75 degrees at 8:32. We're watching an apartment fire that's in the mop-up stages this morning. McHenry Township fire is on the scene in the 1900 block of Orleans. And there was a second floor that was affected, along with an attic area and other apartments, and we'll keep an eye on that for you. Northwestern University has made the controversial decision to move on from its head football coach. University announcing Monday that Pat Fitzgerald has been fired. Meantime, Fitzgerald is speaking out, adding his attorney Dan Webb and agent Brian Harlan will take the necessary steps to protect his rights. Pennsylvania Crime Stoppers organization offering a $10,000 reward for information that leads to the capture of escaped prisoner Michael Burham.
Authorities say Burham is a survivalist with military training and believe he could be getting help after finding supplies and campsites they say he possibly used. It's the second time in recent months he's eluded police. Back in May, police say Burham spent nearly 2 weeks on the run as a suspect in a murder case.
Our reporter Ron Allen on the scene. PGA officials will answer senators' questions today on the agreement between the PGA and Saudi Arabia's Sovereign Wealth Fund, creating one global golf league. It's the battle between who's right and who's wrong between the PGA and LIV Golf. President Biden set to meet one-on-one with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on the side at this week's NATO summit in Europe. For the first time in 2 decades, cases of locally transmitted malaria are being detected in the U.S. 6 cases of the mosquito-borne infection have been confirmed in Florida and 1 in Texas. Excluding Chicago, the most DUI arrests in Illinois for 2022 were in Aurora. The report released Thursday shows nearly 340 DUI arrests in Aurora, Decatur coming in second with 289 arrests. Rockford saw the biggest jump at 48%. Franklin Park, the highest arrest rate with 5.21 DUI arrests per police officer. And today's a special day if you've got a sweet tooth. It's July 11. That means it's 7-Eleven Slurpee Day. To celebrate, the convenience store chain's 96th birthday will give away a free small Slurpee. The news service of MyPillow, big news, brand new MyPillow 2.0. Buy one, get one free, promo code Liberty. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees people freaking out.
The Supreme Court is falling off the pedestal it once built for itself, down into the muck of normal politics. They're squealing like stuck pigs because, lo and behold, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action. Come on, you got to hire people based on the color of their skin, right?
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I ran this by my doctor. I always run it by her, everything I take, and I told her I've been taking this for a while. Is this okay to take? She goes, oh, this is wonderful for you to take. Keep taking it. She goes, I approve this. This is very good. So she said, yes. She said, this is one thing you can take that's very good. I'm not going to stop taking Balance of Nature.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. For a limited time this summer, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. Hi, my name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. And right now, I've become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. This is not a work of fiction. It's a terrifying reality looming on the horizon. But there is a bit of good news. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. They are specialists in converting your traditional assets, like those inside an IRA or 401k, into tangible assets such as physical gold and silver. Don't allow your money to be controlled. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Call 800-900-8000.
8:38, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center Time is a service of ExpressPros.com. Looking for your next job? Express can help. Express Employment Pros has put more than 10 million people to work in the last 40 years. With competitive pay and no fee to help you find a job, what are you waiting for? Visit ExpressPros.com today. Kennedy inbound at about 90 minutes, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike inbound, we'll call it an hour 20 now, inbound from 390 to the old post office. Bishop Ford jammed up into the Ryan merge. The Ryan at 33 from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Tri-State jamming northbound St. Charles to the Grand Avenue curve. The Veterans jamming up solid Fountain Toll Plaza up to the I-88 interchange. I-65 slows down northbound between Ridge and 8094. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Partly sunny this morning in your forecast, much more humid, and by the afternoon, a thunder shower in spots. High 84. 75 right now. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
It's time for Dan Proft's parenting tips. Whoa, Dan Proft's parenting tips. Whoa, tell your kids to shut up and listen to him.
All right, we're gonna get to your problem with Eli.
No, Peyton, my oldest.
Oh, with Peyton. All right, we'll get to
The Georgia
Peyton
Tech guy.
problem in a second. But the Stockholm restaurant recommendations.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I guess I have to play Zagat's to my friend Steve the
gosh.
Pilot too. I mean, what more parenting tips and giving advice and counsel on relationships and restaurant recommendations? Don't they have?
You're very busy, and you have to play golf later today.
What about you? You have family in
I do, but
Sweden.
whenever we go to visit, we have dinner at their house. We don't go to
Okay, well,
restaurants.
why don't you let Steve invite himself over to your family's house?
Or does he want to go to the farm in Norberg?
How far is that from Stockholm?
It's a mere 3.5 hours.
It's not
You'll see
bad.
beautiful fields of sunflowers. You might run into a moose. It's so pretty, and the air is so clean, and cobalt blue lakes, and
Oh wow, sounds lovely. All right, give me his address. Give me the address of the farm and the name, and then I'll text it to Steve, Steve the Pilot. Also, I'm just looking. They've got 3 Michelin-rated restaurants.
oh, really? In Stockholm?
Agriculture, Babette,
Mm-hmm.
Lil Ego.
Well,
There's like a couple of dozen. I mean, there you go.
Such a beautiful town.
All right, get to the
We should
parents.
do a remote there.
Yeah, we should, from the farm outside of Stockholm. It's not a bad idea. Okay.
All right, so
What's the problem?
Peyton got a new job. He is washing dishes at a cafe in Andersonville. Speaking of sweets,
He's a dishwasher.
Which I
This guy's a chef.
well, he tried to get Mathnasium to be a tutor.
Yeah.
And they didn't want him, or they were already booked. They already
Yeah,
had
okay.
people hired. So that's what he really wanted to use his brain. But now he's washing dishes, which is fine. I love it. But he will not tell me where he works because I'm an embarrassment to him. He said, "Mom, this place is so progressive, and I can't tell you because if you walk in there, and if somebody recognizes you, I'm going to be treated differently, or I'm going to get fired." So I don't know if he's Judas or Peter. Like, why he's letting? I said, if that is the people you are working for, you shouldn't be working for those people.
I don't know. I don't know that you're Christ in this story.
No, I
don't know if that really.
No, I just meant
holds
meaning
up.
the whole turning on.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Someone that
reference.
gave you life. I mean, hello. And I've spent. I mean, not only am I his mom, but I was his coach for 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm crushed. I was really, really upset by this.
Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Is like, look, you're going to tell me where you work, and I'm going to come in there, or we're going to find out where you work.
Oh,
because Andersonville's not that big. We're going to find out where you work.
And then I'm going to come in.
I'm going to come in with all my MAGA friends. It's going to be
Oh, like Tom Sedeka, the dinner crew. Remember the
rebel diners. We're going to come in. We're going to, with our flags and our
Don't tread on me.
MAGA, our Gadsden flags, our MAGA wear. We're going to be passing out pro-life brochures.
What else? Well, I was thinking I could come in with bottles of Balance of Nature, a My Pillow, and my MAGA hat, and be like, "Who wants to serve me?"
Mm-hmm.
And do you know who my son is?
Yeah, I'm so proud of my son.
Because he does.
Peyton. There he is.
He's in the back.
Washing
Wait,
dishes.
Who's running out the door?
Yeah. So one of those things, like, first of all, you don't know what embarrassment is until you really feel it, until it's directed. So that's what I would threaten him with. The other thing is, what are you living on your? You don't live on your knees.
Oh, I die standing. I'm not going to live on my knees. Are you? What is wrong with him? I
What
thought
is-
he was a better man than that.
What is he worried about? Why is he working as a dishwasher in some leftist shop? Now, the other thing you say, well, one of the things you can do is unionize. You need to unionize the dishwashers and the staff there,
Uh-huh.
and obviously, test the progressives' metal there. You want to live your values. Why are we living our values in this place?
That's right. That's
be
why
the
we should be.
Cesar Chavez of Andersonville.
And they should be paying more than minimum wage. When are we raising our minimum wage? Is it end of July? I think we're raising it in Cook County. I got a blast from Tony Preckwinkle, but they should raise it now.
You'll get a letter from Salem when your minimum wage is increased. So
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. If you have any other advice, again, 312-642-5600. Not that I'm saying this is a Dan.
No, there's
parenting trip.
There's two paths. There's
Okay.
you either stoke a proletariat revolution inside the restaurant and the neighborhood, or we will come in. All of me and all my ugly conservative friends will come in, and that's the only place we're going to eat.
And you're not going to move. You're going to have breakfast there, lunch, and
We
dinner.
just
You're not going to
we'll
move.
have. Well, I will just send an endless stream of conservatives in there to point Peyton out and to extol his conservative bona fides to the entire restaurant.
Okay.
So that's a choice.
All right.
It's the carrot or the stick. What's it going to be?
Oh, I just.
Sometimes it's even a big kid,
They're
a
not gonna
big
know who
smart
I am.
kid. Going to Georgia Tech. He's not too big. Better not get a bit too big for those britches. Not around these parts.
Yeah. I mean, this is MAGA country. Oh, maybe I can get the Asendario brothers because they live down the street from me in those apartments across from Lakeview. Maybe I can get them to come in with me because it is MAGA country, and
Yeah. What? In full battle garb. All right. I think we've settled that. Does that
All
give you
right.
two paths? It
Yeah,
gives you a choice to present him.
I need to find out where he works, which I got some snitches.
Well,
out there.
again, we
I
can
was trying to bribe Eli. Like, just tell me where he works. He's like, I'm not.
everything. There's always two ways to do things. It's up to him. Tom in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. If I'm not mistaken, I think Andersonville used to house the hellhole prisoner of war facility for the Confederacy.
I don't know. I don't.
I don't know about that.
No, Mike.
That may be like Andersonville, Georgia.
Yes. Yeah, Andersonville, Georgia.
Yeah,
is the
not
prison.
Andersonville. Clark and
Oh,
Foster.
Oh, he's confusing
Oh,
Andersonville, Georgia with
Anderson.
Yeah, he's in Chicago for the summer, not
Yeah.
Georgia.
There
No,
was
University
a
of
Civil
I see.
War prison in Canaryville, near
Oh.
back of the yards on the south side.
All right.
Maybe
learning
they
new
should
things.
reopen it.
Hey.
Judy in Lamont.
Hi, good morning. You all know I'm with you 99.9% of the time. And Amy, I just got done taking my Balance of Nature, so we're all good there.
There you go.
Cheers.
A little bit different take is that, how they say for us moms, we have to pick our battles. And I'm not sure how old Peyton is, but he's in college. So, one, good for him. He got a job. He's working. It might not be the most ideal job at the most ideal place. But the flip side is if he can get in there a little bit longer and he can start talking to friends and instilling them all the values and the ways of looking at the world that you have taught him, and Dan, that, he talks to his friends and then he's like, Mom, Johnny, Susie, Mary, they're getting it. They're understanding how, this should be and how different things should be. And how cool would that when he's like, my mom, where'd you get that from, Peyton? Well, my mom, grew up like that. So just a little bit of a different spin.
Okay. He has a lot of conservative friends at Georgia Tech.
Too
that
soft.
used to follow me on Twitter.
Too soft. It's Andersonville, the people in Andersonville, not reachable. They're not reachable. All you can do is force them to live their values, and that's what he should do.
Okay.
That's what he should do.
I used to belong to the Swedish American Museum, but the last time I went in there, the lady screamed and almost had a heart attack. She's like, you have to wear a mask. And she had 2 masks on. And this is a few months ago. They're out of their mind. People in
What does that
Sweden
mean?
didn't even act like that.
Oh, you're talking about Andersonville residents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Jim in LaGrange.
Hi, Dan. I'd love to see you and Amy do a Blues Brother routine like they did at Shea Paul. And I'm not sure, Dan, do you want to
How much
be
for the
John
little
Belushi or
girl?
does Amy, does Amy want to be John Belushi? Amy, I see you more as a Dan Aykroyd character there. John,
Yeah.
You can take the Belushi lead, Dan.
That would be fun. Thanks for the call, Jim. Good idea.
That would be funny.
I will go there. And I will find it. I can find it now if I really wanted to.
There's a lot of cafes in Andersonville.
Yeah.
And they all look liberal to me.
All right. Look for 6'7" Sweeter Rican walking around Andersonville. We'll find him pretty quickly. You can't hide, Peyton. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
We know you.
Susan, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
Amy, oh
Yes.
my gosh, my daughter was a server in college. She commuted to St. Xavier's, and she came home one day with this slutty tank top on that said the Black Sheep. And I said, oh my gosh, where are you working? She says, don't you dare come, don't you dare come. But she learned a lot in the service industry. She really did. And I stayed away. In about 3 or 4 years into her service job, I did get invited to come up, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. So just leave them alone. They really learn a lot. We don't need to get involved.
Thanks for the call, Susan. I don't like.
He let me go to Zia's when he worked at Zia's.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah.
In Edison Park.
Well, the one on Ashland, but now it's in Edison Park.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
the best restaurant. I love that. They have new dessert menu, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with him in that environment.
I mean, either.
And
at least he knows that he's among people that hate conservatives. Like some people will live their whole lives and be oblivious to everything.
No, he's smart.
So
I know
he's
that.
smart.
Yeah. I don't like him repudiating. Maybe it's just a mom thing. So find out if I can attend.
Okay.
If I can go patronize that restaurant with me and some of my goon friends.
Can you imagine if you and Sean and then you lit up cigars and did?
Well, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
I know, but
we're not going to disrespect the joint.
Right.
We'll just go, but like maybe it's. I don't want him getting into the habit of repudiating conservative friends, conservative colleagues, acquaintances. Like the mom thing could just like mom coming to work. I get that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's not the political thing.
He's worried that they will know who I am because then they'll know where I work and the ramifications of that. And I said, well, doesn't that say a lot about the Democratic and Progressive Party?
Yeah.
And he just went,
Yeah.
You're not going.
Good thoughts. Good seed planting. All right, we'll find out where he works. I'll scout the place. I'll go in. I'll get a handle on the situation. I'll report back, and then we'll take whatever evasive action we need to take.
Stop it. That's
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It took a panicked run on a major bank to lead to the second biggest bank failure in U.S. history. And Moody's just downgraded the entire U.S. banking system from stable to negative. Just a reminder why many people diversify their portfolios with something tangible, something that doesn't need bailing out, something that can't vanish into thin air. Learn the truth in Swiss America's shocking report, The Secret War on Cash. This all-out war against cash is a war against the Constitution, against all freedom-loving Americans. You must read The Secret War on Cash. Get your free copy by calling or texting 800-630-1495. That's 800-630-1495. This all-out war on cash, digital forms of currency too, is growing daily. So please get and read The Secret War on Cash, free to Salem listeners by calling or texting now at 800-630-1495. Make sure you mention Salem when you call or text 800-630-1495.
How far will the left go to win 2024? Will they send out more stimulus checks or give away trillions more to left-wing groups? The simple truth is they don't care if your retirement is eroded down to a fraction of its value. They just want to win. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to encourage you to diversify your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into a physical gold IRA. And the only company I recommend for gold IRAs is conservative-owned Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word HEDGE to 989898 to get their free info kit on gold IRAs. Do this now before Democrats have a chance to legislate away your life savings. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting HEDGE to the number 989898. There's nothing to buy and no obligation at all. So use your agency. Take action now. Text the word HEDGE to the number 989898.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Astellas US LLC seeks AIA Data Operations Senior Manager in Northbrook, Illinois to manage real-world data, RWD data sources, standards, operations, controls, and training. Telecommuting may be permitted. Candidates must mail resume, reference job code 20357.241.9 to attention Dana Marston, HR, Astellas US LLC, 2375 Waterview Drive, Northbrook, Illinois, 60062. Equal opportunity employer, minority, female, disabled veteran. Astellas US LLC seeks AIA Data Operations Senior Manager in Northbrook, Illinois. Again, candidates must mail resume, reference job code 20357.241.9 to attention Dana Marston, HR, Astellas US LLC, 2375 Waterview Drive, Northbrook, Illinois, 60062. Equal opportunity employer, minority, female, disabled veteran.
The Daily Herald 2022 Best of the Fox winner for Best Financial Planner is Total Clarity Wealth Management. The 2022 Reader's Choice Award winner for Best Wealth Management Firm and Best Financial Planner is Total Clarity Wealth Management. Are you ready for a change? Choose Total Clarity Wealth Management. With a professional team of financial advisors and CPAs, they can show you the way to financial readiness and keep you on track. Their philosophy is built on solid relationships and trust, with access to expertise in tax planning strategies, 401k rollover services, estate planning, and more. They can help you be ready for anything.
Hi, this is Terry Murphy. The cornerstone of our practice has been to help clients stay focused on their goals throughout life's changes.
Get in touch with them at TotalClarityWealth.com. That's TotalClarityWealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Total Clarity Wealth Management Inc., a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Awards are based on number of reader votes. This award is not representative of the views of clients and is not indicative of future performance or services.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we'll have to get to why Dan Proft is single tomorrow. But this interesting, somebody tweeted over to me. Raymond Diaz Jr. Raymond Diaz is the individual who's come forward under his own name and made all these accusations about racism and trauma he suffered. He last played at Northwestern in 2009. This tweet from July 19th of 2020, and it's his account. Agreed. Coach Fitch continues to influence my life today. He expects his athletes to be exceptional students. The culture he creates at Northwestern is one that I speak of with great admiration to youth athletes daily. I'm proud to be a Wildcat. Go Cats. That was 3 years ago. What happened?
What happened?
Huh.
And he also, he said he was so traumatized he couldn't watch football. And his tweet, which his handle is Sport is Second, spelled out second, all he's showing is admiration and love and retweeting Northwestern football highlights. If he's so traumatized by his former team, I don't know how he
apparently
could make this happen.
that trauma was latent. It didn't manifest itself for 14 years until just recently. By the way, I think this is a screenshot that was sent to me. He deleted this tweet, so he probably came forward, or before he came forward, he was maybe just after, because probably most people didn't know who he was, comes forward, and then people are scrolling through his Twitter account, and they find this tweet, perhaps others, where he's singing a much different tune back then than he is today. And this is the basis on which you're going to crater your program and smear Fitzgerald's name and end his coaching career, at least at Northwestern, and probably at the collegiate level for at least some time. Huh.
That is sick.
Outside counsel, all these wonderful intellects in the administration at Northwestern, on the board. The plot thickens. We'll keep it updated tomorrow.
Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks also to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Couldn't do it without them. And we are back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now let's head into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
An apartment fire being investigated in McHenry Township. Northwestern University fires Pat Fitzgerald. A woman killed in a wrong-way crash involving a CTA bus has